Near the Shinobi Academy, in the shade of a tree, the Jonin stood waiting for the end of the team distribution. He had tried to finish his mission as early as possible, so he would have time to see who got his child. The young, now genin, had been coming out for a long time. Inuzuka, Hyuga, and Aburame were the clan representatives. Modest, mysterious personality, impulsive and free-spirited bully, an interesting combination. They were followed by Nara, Akamichi, Yamanaka. The new Inoshika Cho, if they don't pull any punches. Finally, the black-haired girl he'd been waiting for came out. Her hair gathered in a ponytail was slightly frizzy, something she got from her mother. She was angry. Looks like she had bad luck with the team. Why are you angry? He asked as he approached her. They put me on a team with a jerk and a dork. What's a dork? He asked, trying to figure out who fits that definition. Uchiha Sasuke. He's what everyone calls handsome. Any girl would jump for joy if she joined his team. Handsome. She agreed. But the character? Sullen, unsociable, cold. Well, he's not going to get over the death of his clan easily, Miko. And the other one? Miko made such a mournful face. 2 words. It's Naruto. Yeah, maybe he's not so bad. He's not capable at all. I'd kill him. It's not good to hurt the little ones. No, it's not good to hurt the little ones. And he's short, she added angrily. He's still growing. Maybe he'll grow up to be sultry and handsome. He looks nice, but I have to go on missions with him. They walked in silence. Maybe you'll give him an accident. You said it's not good to hurt the little ones. I meant Sasuke. It won't work. He's a top student at the academy for a reason. That was fast. You didn't take that into consideration, did you? No. I've been evaluating his strength for a while now, and I realize I'm no match for him. Well, with you two, the team doesn't have to fear Naruto. No. One man will do the mission, and the other will take care of Naruto. Not funny. I'm serious. You were assigned to him because you compensate for his weaknesses and he for yours. It's a proven team-building tactic. What are his shortcomings that it took 2 of us? Don't exaggerate. He's a genin after all, which means he has the bare minimum. Okay, I'm convinced. Don't be mad at him, but try to help your sensei develop his talents. Who is he, anyway? Sensei. Hitaki Kakashi. The Uchiha issue is solved. Uzumaki too. He added to himself. Not a bad jonin, and he lives up to his nickname. Versatile. Wields the 4 elements. He can teach you a lot of things. Really? What? It's nothing. We all have our little flaws. Nothing major, but it's good for you to practice patience. Okay, you've made me feel better. Yeah, I'll put up with the jerk who's having a hard time and keep an eye on the jerk. A month passed. After reporting for duty, Team 7 began training. As they always did. Naruto. You've ruined everything again. Miko, don't yell. He only messed up his part, and you messed up yours. Kakashi calmed her down. Lives may depend on his skill. His, ours or others, it doesn't matter. And he can't do anything. The only thing he's good at is arrow jutsu. It's not the first time we've had a fight like this. That's enough for today. Everyone go home, said Kakashi when the training was over. Miko walked home upset. When she got home, she started cooking. There's more in the fridge. I cooked today. The young Kunoichi thought for a moment. No, I should practice cooking. I'm not a good cook. He asked in a resentful tone. No, Dad, you're a good cook. You're great. But the thing is, I'm not a good cook. Something new. Or are you honing your skills? The second. Jonin looked at her and smiled. Responsible and stubborn like a mother. She was a good cook, but it wasn't always like this. Her first attempts were pancakes, and she didn't throw them away, but ate them herself. And when her father was already thinking, shouldn't I run after Irionen, she came to him and asked for advice and help. He loved cooking, it was his little hobby. So he prompted and showed a little. She took the advice to heart. When she finished, she began to set the table. Don't forget to bring it to the examination. It's not poisoned. Even if it was, it's not a big deal to you or me. Whether it's edible is the main thing. Although in this case, I'm only interested in the taste," said he, looking at the dish. After eating and clearing the table, he decided to ask her how the team was doing. "It's terrible. Naruto doesn't even have enough for the two of us." "Really?" "Unfortunately, yes." "What exactly is it?" "He's impulsive and incapable." "Maybe the latter stems from the former." "Most likely. We've already tried to help him keep his temper. We're Kakashi-sensei and me. Sasuke says he's a fool and can't be helped. Really a prick." After a short pause, he added, "Maybe I should try to help him. If you want to, yes. No harm done." "Maybe you mean, worse. You're not the monster they say you are. You're just my daughter and you haven't seen everything." "You're my daughter," he said with a smile. "Why? I have my own training methods. You can ask Anko. I trained you differently." "Is that why Anko's so wild?" "No, she was born with it, I just developed it in her." Miko thought about it for a long time. That spoke of a difficult choice. "My answer hasn't changed. But please be careful with him, he's a child after all. An apprentice is a burden on the family." Naruto walked to Ichiraku after practice. Grumbling, he was relieving his stress after another setback. Good for those two. One with his Sharingan, the other Sanin's daughter. Of course they're doing well. He's only recently discovered the Sharingan, and she's been practicing long and hard. Heard a voice nearby. Naruto turned around at the sound. "Hello, Orochimaru-sama. I didn't mean to offend your daughter. Are you afraid of me?" "No, it's just that you said it out of the blue." No. He wasn't lying. Sanin sensed that the fear was caused by his sudden appearance. Now he feared him and nothing more. That pleased him. Sanin was feared in the village. Not an easy character, the number of people he'd killed, and a predilection for strange experiments in his youth, it was all frightening. This boy was not afraid. "Naruto, Miko says you're not capable. They say a lot of things." Naruto muttered under his breath. "Including that you're dragging the team down." Sanin interjected. "Yeah, well, I can't do much, but I'm trying. I had no one to teach me, I learned everything on my own." "In the academy. They teach you basic skills." "I can do that. They learned there, too, with you." "Yes. They had help, too. Family and friends. I didn't have that luxury." Sasuke lost his family, too. But he had one. Naruto shouted angrily. "So you lack individualized attention. You lack individualized attention." "Something like that," he said uncertainly. "What about Kakashi? He's busier with his book than he is with us." "He's not." "Not true, I know him. He's always looking out for his neighbors. I guess I'm distant. So if you're individualized, you'll get it right away." "You'll get it right away." "Not right away," Naruto replied. "Then I'll take care of you." Orochimaru herself, "What do you mean, practicing?" Now he was scared. "Teach you to your individual characteristics and predilections. That's it. What else?" "Well, you know, experiments." "I'm done with that. I'm done with that. There will be no experiments," Sanin said sternly. They stood in silence. Sanin with a stern face because he was reminded of a sore subject and Naruto not knowing how to react to the statement that Orochimaru would teach him individually. The silence was interrupted by Naruto's stomach reminding him of the Genin's original purpose. "Well, shall I go?" he asked uncertainly. "Where?" "To Ichiraku. I'll go with you. We'll start getting to know each other from now on." "Okay." They went together to a ramen restaurant. There, Naruto immediately became cheerful. Seeing Naruto eating ramen with gusto, Sanin asked him, "Do you eat it mostly?" "Yeah. I'm getting tired of the convenience foods." "Is there nothing else?" No, I can't cook." "Ah." Sanin hesitated, realizing that he has no one to cook for him. And it would be a very stupid question. Naruto ate while Orochimaru thought. He really is alone. No family, no friends. No one to take care of him. He's left to his own devices. He lost his parents too, just like me. But Hiruzen took care and raised me. I'll do the same for Naruto. Let him feel the care and control of someone who cares." When Naruto finished eating, Orochimaru gave him another piece of news. "Gather your things and come live with me. I don't want to run across town, and I don't think you do either. We'll find a place for you. Wow. Naruto's astonishment was unprecedented. Don't just stand there. I'm a demanding mentor. I'm a demanding mentor. Naruto quickly ran home. When he arrived, he began to frantically pack. Once packed, he wanted to set off, but realized he had no idea where he was going. Like Miko said, you're very impulsive and in a hurry. You didn't ask for directions and took whatever you could get your hands on. Come on, I'll walk you out, said Sannin, coming in through the open window. They went to Sannin's house. When they got there, the first thing Sannin said to Miko was, "This is Naruto, he's going to live with us." Miko was silent. Go to the room behind the pantry. There are a lot of pots in the pantry, you'll recognize it easily. Sannin directed Naruto. As soon as Naruto left, Miko immediately stated, "He's not Sasuke. He's not Sasuke. I can easily make an accident for him. I'm not Sasuke either. So it won't work," he said calmly. "Why? I'm going to teach him." "Why here? Can't you do it somewhere else?" "I want to teach him not only how to be a ninja, but a member of a group, a family." "Why?" she asked in confusion. "He's always been alone. He doesn't know that, that's why he behaves so peculiarly with others. Interaction is a very important thing. Well, what am I supposed to do with him? Make sure he follows the rules of the house. But most importantly, help him get used to it. Other than that, it's the same as usual." Meanwhile, Naruto was settling into his assigned room. "I hope you didn't forget your hygiene supplies," Sannin asked as he walked in. "No. That's good. I told you right away that you were packed wrong. Why didn't you try to fix it? Well, you said, 'Let's go.' Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you stop me? I didn't want to argue with you. So you can argue with your teammates, but you can't argue with me. You can't. Well, there." He started to blush. "They are your teammates and you should be able to get along and listen to each other. They're just blaming me. You're really not much of a professional shinobi." Naruto frowned. "Okay, that's not what I'm talking about right now. The first thing I want to teach you is how to deal with mistakes. The only one who doesn't make mistakes is the one who doesn't do anything, and the only one who doesn't learn is the one who repeats. First, you should have at least tried to tell me what you need to fix. I wouldn't have said no. 2. If you don't know or can't do something, ask for help. It's not hard for me to give advice and help me pack. Miko doesn't know everything either, but she learns from her mistakes and often, I help her. When she lets me." Naruto listened to Sannin and didn't know what to do. He was reprimanded for his mistakes without yelling or displeasure. Just calmly pointing them out and telling him what to do. Only the third and Iruka sensei had done that before. He was uncomfortable with the feeling. "All right, get ready for bed. Training will start tomorrow." "Okay. Sensei." "Just sensei," Orochimaru told him. Social relations in the Sannin family. Naruto woke up in the morning and the first thing he did was to clean up his face. Walking out of his room, he didn't immediately realize what had happened to his apartment. Remembering that it wasn't his apartment, he realized that he couldn't remember where the bathroom was. Deciding if the house was big enough to get lost in, while trying to find the necessary room on his own, he realized that it was more important for him to find the bathroom urgently. Miko saved the day. "You're awake after all. I don't advise you to wake up. We're not animals, but a sleepy person is a dead giveaway." "Miko, where's the toilet and the bathroom?" "Next to each other." Naruto wasn't amused. "Follow the hallway straight ahead and to the right. The bathroom's the last one, and the toilet's in front of it," she explained to the poor guy. "Thank you." He thanked her and ran in that direction. "You'll find the kitchen by the smell. We'll wait for you there," she shouted after him. Naruto took the advice and cleaned himself up. Orochimaru and Miko were waiting for him there. "How did you sleep in your new place?" Sannin asked. "Good, sensei. Now you're going to try Miko's cooking. She's just learning, so I asked her to cook what she can cook." "Do I have to try what she can't cook too? And what she can't cook? What's the matter?" Miko asked angrily. "Well, I'm not a picky eater. I'll eat it without noticing how good or bad it is. I'll ruin the whole training session. He quickly started to justify himself. Orochimaru sensed he wasn't lying, though he was wrong to say it. While Miko was thinking about how to kill Naruto, Orochimaru spoke up. That's what I was talking about yesterday, Miko. He's just making excuses. He's making excuses, but he's not lying. He really meant what he said. Miko acted like, okay, I forgive you. Naruto. What she fails at is analyzed carefully. To figure out what's wrong with the dish. The ingredients, the cooking method, the chef himself. AAA. Naruto pretended to understand. So you're out. Summarized Miko. When you've eaten, we'll do your training. We'll start by developing your body. So a jog from home to the academy and back will be just fine. By the way, it's through the Hyuga clan. Sannin decided. That's half of Konoha. It's just a run. It shouldn't be a problem for you. I have to run this distance solely on the ground. You can't jump on houses. Yes. Good. Naruto said without much emotion and continued eating. That tone made Sannin suspicious. I'll have to follow him. Flashed through his mind. It's delicious. Ramen tastes better to me, but this is delicious too. Orochimaru tensed up. He wasn't praising Miko's dishes, only pointing out the flaws. Miko had asked him to do so herself, afraid that he would flatter her. How would she react to outside praise? He was very curious. Thank you, Miko said with warmth. Supplements. Naruto thought for a moment. No, I think I'll just start practicing. Thanks for the treat. Naruto packed up and ran. Orochimaru decided to give him a small head start, but for now, to quench his curiosity. What do you think of his praise? Clumsy, but honest. He can't cook for himself, and he has no one to cook for him. That's why he eats at diners and fast food packages. That's why he doesn't know anything about food. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter. He said it honestly. Orochimaru was glad. His daughter had come to the right conclusion. All the more reason for him to stay with us for a long time, I guess. He'll try all sorts of things. I'll get an adequate assessment of my cooking. I'm off. I'm gonna see how my apprentice does what I tell him to do. Does your team have anything to do today? At 3 o'clock, we're supposed to go in for another mission. Okay, I'll send him to you by then. Okay. Naruto performed the task faithfully. Orochimaru was waiting for him outside the house. Well, you've stretched your legs, it's time to stretch the rest. Naruto made an unsatisfied face, but remained silent. Emotional, but determined and diligent. If his talents are properly exposed, he will be a fine shinobi. Orochimaru was beginning to understand his student. 2 days passed. Naruto ran out for another run. What the hell? He's such a pig. Why do I have to clean up after him? Miko shouted. Orochimaru, who came running to her screaming, began to calm her down. He should clean his room himself. And pigs are cleaner than him. Looking at the mess in the room, he said. He's been here 2 days and already it's a mess. Well, he could have made it to make himself at home. Remembering the apartment, Naruto tried to justify the student Sannin. So what? Let him stay like this. Never. Just, when he comes back, don't yell, but explain that it shouldn't be like this and cleanliness should be taken care of. When Naruto returned, Miko reprimanded him. Albeit with difficulty, she managed to contain her anger. Naruto apologized and started to clean up. Mission test. After 2 months, Naruto's stamina, already great, increased and he became slightly better at taijutsu. Training was paying off, and living with a family of experience in communication and behavior. He even participated in analyzing Miko's dishes a couple of times, though without the right to vote, for lack of authority in the field. At the team's training sessions, he was still a bit of a mess. He reacted more calmly to accusations, though Sasuke and Miko didn't pity him in the least. After one of them, he stayed and approached Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi-sensei. I've been wanting to know where Miko's mom is for a long time, but I can't ask Orochimaru myself and Miko because I feel it's the wrong topic. Kakashi was surprised by the student's question. You're doing the right thing by not asking them. It's a sore subject for both of them. You see Mei, that was Miko's mother's name, on one of the missions got hit by water machinery in a cold area and got badly inflamed. Her comrades brought her to the village and here she was treated. She had to drink medicine and gain strength at home. Miko was 5 years old at the time. She helped her mother in any way she could. Orochimaru prepared medicine for her. Kakashi spoke at a leisurely pace. Calm, but his fame made him sad. One day, Miko went to fetch the medicine for Mei. Not finding it where she usually did, she went to her father's lab. There was a liquid similar in color to the medicine Mei had been given. It was one of Orochimaru's experiments. Mei didn't notice the difference either, and drank. Silence. It's obvious. They both blamed themselves. Orochimaru for not closing the lab and putting his experiment away. Miko for bringing that liquid and not seeing the medicine on the table next to her mother's bed. In the evening of the same day. Naruto, what's wrong with you? You're so depressed. It's nothing. He tried to hide his mood from Miko. Naruto, don't lie. I found out about your mother. I don't need your condolences. She said without shouting. No, I'm just curious to know what she was like. But I don't want to disturb your memories of her. Miko understood. Naruto is too honest and kind to say that not sincerely. She was kind and cheerful. She was kind and cheerful, the kind of person they say attracts you with their warmth. Miko was relieved that the conversation had turned that way. I see. I didn't know what maternal love was. Other people's mothers hated me. They said I was bad and they didn't want to be friends with me. I don't remember yours. You must have seen her. She had gorgeous, unruly light brown hair down to her shoulder blades. Slightly sticking out like yours. Yeah. Fluffy, as my dad says. It sounds nicer that way. You can't say that about mine. Naruto said with a sigh. Your hair is not bad. It suits you. They smiled. The heavy topic came easily to both of them. Later, when Orochimaru returned, Miko talked about the conversation. It's really nice to talk about her without sadness. The guarding mission in the river country started off unexpectedly violently. Kakashi was killed by 2 ninjas wearing metal gloves. One was immediately taken care of by Sasuke. The other tried to kill the guarded man, but his blow was parried by Miko. While she was holding the attacker's gauntlet with her kunai, she noticed a third one ready to throw a kunai at her. She couldn't dodge or parry without setting herself up. Preparing to get wounded, the Miko waited. God damn it, said Naruto. The kunai that had been thrown at Miko was sticking in his left hand, below the wrist. Again, Sasuke was ahead of me and reacted first. Said he as he prepared to fight. Naruto, help me deal with him first. Miko pointed at her opponent. He's a danger to the guarded. Naruto threw a kunai at his face. The enemy parried it, but missed being hit in the stomach by Miko's kunai. A second later, the kunai that Naruto had taken out of his hand flew into his face. Orochimaru taught him to kill his enemies without fuss or pity. Naruto put his back to the third shinobi for nothing. His back felt it. Don't put your back out, said Kakashi running to Sasuke's aid. Naruto turned around. His opponent was on the ground a couple steps away from him. After finishing the fight, Kakashi approached Naruto first. Next time, fight back with a weapon, he said as he bandaged his arm. Soon they encountered another enemy. Kakashi recognized him as Zabuza the Blood Mist Demon. After a short fight, Kakashi found himself in the water prison. The genin didn't stand a chance against one of the swordsmen. The only thing that prevented him from killing them was the technique he maintained. What are we going to do? Kakashi-sensei is trapped. Miko was objective. Run. We don't stand a chance, shouted Naruto, throwing a smoke bomb under his feet. When the smoke cleared, everyone noticed that he had done just that. Miko pulled out 2 shadow shurikens from her backpack. Sasuke, we'll throw them at the same time. You in the chest, me in the legs. He can't dodge both, said Miko as she handed Sasuke the shadow shuriken. They threw them as planned. The one Sasuke threw, Zabuza hit back with his sword and wanted to jump the second one. Suddenly there was a pop underneath him and he was grabbed by his leg. Naruto was holding his leg and was about to hit him with a kunai. Zabuza had to do an incredible somersault to dodge the blow. Naruto barely had time to block his counter-punch. You almost had it pretty good. You almost did, Naruto said calmly as he rode toward the shore. Kakashi was free. Distracted, Zabuza had lost control of the water prison. The fight boiled over again. Kakashi was almost winning when he was stopped by one of Mist's Anbu, piercing Zabuza's throat with Senbon's. He's from our village. And I'll take the body with me, said the man as he walked away with the body. The security mission continued without much incident. Except that Sasuke was angered by the fact that Kakashi had been saved thanks to Naruto's plan, and he only found out about the plan when it was executed. Naruto and Miko parried that the effect would not have been the same. If he had known, he wouldn't have been so surprised. And that made Naruto very happy. While things were quiet, Kakashi trained them to walk on vertical objects using chakra. Miko did well almost immediately. Naruto and Sasuke also mastered the technique, but more slowly. Soon the training was over. Arriving at the guarded bridge to check on the progress, Team 7 was surprised to see that Zabuza was alive. How? He was killed by that Anbu. Naruto's surprise was unparalleled. There with him. That would explain the choice of weapons. Kakashi replied calmly. Yes, Hiku saved me. But this time, I'll win. Your Sharingan won't help if you can't see anything. I specialize in killing in the fog. Hiku will take care of your students. Zabuza began the technique. The fog was thickening rapidly. Miko stood next to the guard and was engulfed by the fog. Let's not disturb them. Hiku raised his voice. Go to the voice. I'll take you beyond the boundaries of the technique and then we'll get started. I'm not going anywhere. Finish him off and come back, shouted Miko. There's no need to shout like that. We're still around. Sasuke was indignant. The fog is thick and you can't see anything. She replied calmly. Where are you with your voice? Call me back. Naruto shouted to the side. Here. Speak up more often so we don't get confused. Okay. Sasuke, come with me. Where are you? He asked sarcastically. Well, then go to his voice. When they emerged from the fog, they saw the former Anbu. He's definitely dangerous in ranged combat, Sasuke warned. I see. The boys decided to engage the enemy in close combat. But as they got closer, the enemy used a technique. The boys found themselves in a dome of ice mirrors. A comparison between the students and the victim. Kakashi strained his hearing to the max. Vision was useless. Let's see whose mentoring skills are better first. Yours are my apprentices. Yours are my apprentices. Who will win? Zabuza began mockingly. Why would you do that? You were going to kill me, weren't you? You have to see this. Hiku is the owner of the Ice Genkai Keke. Once he's done with them, we'll continue. The fog began to clear. Miko and Kakashi saw what position Sasuke and Naruto were in. Naruto and Sasuke had been pierced with Senbon. Not badly, but very painful. Hiku was in no hurry to kill them. His technique allowed him to move through mirrors and jump between them with great speed. With the guys surrounded by them, attacks came from everywhere. Hell, he's too fast. Can't keep up. Sasuke sneered. Why don't we try that trick we did at the lake? One of us can get out and help from the outside, suggested Naruto. Do you think it'll work? He was probably watching us. Ouch. Senbon once again caught up with Sasuke. Any other ideas? The smoke concealed them. A second later a shadow shuriken flew out of there and was knocked back at the boundary. Sasuke regained his footing and landed, holding onto the arm that had been hit. It didn't work, he stated. But we tried. There were 2 explosions. Miko threw the scroll blast into the dome. Let's run, the boys said at the same time. Sasuke ran, but began to fall. His right leg was pierced by pain, and it was failing. But he didn't have time to fall. Naruto grabbed him by his shirt and dragged him. Cover your face and neck, said he to Sasuke. The dome tightened, but a new explosion reopened the passage. Sasuke felt Naruto throwing him. Rolling over, Sasuke noticed Naruto lying in the dome. A second later, the dome tightened. Taking a knee, Sasuke concentrated. Fire element. Fire birds. Half of the dome was destroyed. The dome wouldn't regenerate, and Naruto didn't move. Why? No chakra, no brains. You could have used scrolls like me. Miko tried to calm down, snapping at Sasuke. But he didn't hear her. He was inept, but brave. Fierce, but kind. He helped as much as he could without sparing himself. Why did he save me? It was me. I should have saved him. I was snapping at him, scolding him. Sasuke mumbled as if in a delirium. A new dome of mirrors grew around him. Sasuke stood up. His right leg was still weak. Haku attacked him. Sasuke turned around and kicked him in the face with his left foot. Haku's mask shattered. Before he could get up, he started getting hit frequently. He couldn't dodge. In Sasuke's eyes, he noticed tears and a Sharingan with 3 tomo. From his teacher, he knew what it was. The odds were not in his favor. His right leg failed Sasuke and he slowed down for a few moments. Haku took advantage of this to escape into the mirrors. Now it was a duel to the first mistake. If he didn't make it, they would make it. Miko watched them. Naruto lay there, unmoving. Sasuke was inside his enemy's technique. Holding on for now, but for how much longer? Haku tried to come in from the back. Sasuke saw all his movements and wouldn't allow it. Every technique has a limit. It wasn't easy to set it twice and maintain it, and he had to restore it. The only hope was that Sasuke would run out of strength before Haku's chakra ran out. One has already fallen, the other is barely hanging on. The score is clearly not in your student's favor. Zabuza rejoiced. But not for long. Which one? The hounds held him tight. When you began to dispel the fog, I replaced myself with a clone and began preparing to fight you. My students can handle it, and if not, I'll help them when I'm done with you. Farewell. Zabuza was grabbed firmly by the dogs. Kakashi's palm glowed, then covered in lightning. Kakashi started to strike. But his attack was stopped by Haku, who covered Zabuza with his body. Haku. Zabuza's voice was filled with surprise and bitterness. He threw the dog off his sword arm, but no blow came. There were shurikens sticking out of his hand. The sword fell out of his wounded hand. For Naruto. Miko hissed. Kakashi jumped back and took the dead Haku off his arm. Pity about the kid. He looked at Zabuza. I'm done with you. Zabuza was furious. Not only had he almost lost, but he had forced Haku to sacrifice himself. Scattering the dogs, he grabbed his sword with his left hand. A second later, they ran at each other. Kakashi's hand was sticking out of Zabuza's back and slowly the chakra covering it went out. It was all over. They were worthy opponents, said Kakashi as he approached Miko. Sensei Kakashi, what's wrong with Naruto? Sasuke's scream was filled with fear. He saw Naruto being filled with strong chakra. As he tried to approach, he was stopped by Kakashi. Careful, it might not be him anymore. Not him. Who is it? Miko was at a loss. XO. That hurts. Naruto spoke up. It's him. We have to get him help quickly. Kakashi commanded. What's wrong with him? What's that chakra? I can't tell Sasuke. It's more important to remove the Senbon and bandage him. Naruto was recovering quickly. The others continued their mission. After Zabuza's death, the bandits who hired him went quiet. The bridge was completed and named, the name of the shinobi of Konoha. Sounds like a bad name, but it's very respectful. Peace, friendship, training. The heroes returned to Konoha. Sasuke practiced like hell. He didn't want a repeat of what happened on the bridge. Friends don't get set up and abandoned. While Naruto was recovering, he and Sasuke grew closer. It started like this. Naruto, bandaged in places, was sleeping. Sasuke came into his room with his lunch. Put it on the table. Without opening his eyes, Naruto said, "Are you awake?" I was. But when he felt it coming, his body was ready for action. Naruto replied, still with his eyes closed. Can you do that? Sasuke snickered. Orochimaru sensei taught me. Naruto opened his eyes and replied. I see. Good appetite. Sasuke said as he was about to leave. Don't beat yourself up. You would have done the same thing. We're a team, and you're the best. Said Naruto calmly. But it was you who saved me. Sasuke turned around and shouted. So what? I have to take care of my comrades too. Naruto replied in a calm voice. You're so calm. That's not like you. I'm tranquilized. Kakashi and Miko put me on them. Why? It shouldn't hurt too much. They told me what was bothering you. I wanted to find you and tell you what a fool you are. They told me to lie down. I wouldn't budge. Then they stuffed me full of them and they're still feeding me. I can't even move much. There I am. Tell me. I'm a fool. I'm weak. I can't do anything. Sasuke shouted out his voice. Fool. If you think so. He was stronger than us. And yet we won. When you talk like that, it's scary. It's just that I don't show much emotion. I say what I think. But I express it so faintly. It sounds wise. Wise. You're kidding. You know me. How could I have wisdom? Sasuke laughed. He's right all around. They're on the same team and should take care of each other. Torturing yourself is not the answer. And really, where did Naruto get his wisdom from? The next day, Naruto stopped being tranquilized. And he ran away. They caught up with him and wanted to put him back on them, but they realized that sick people don't run like that and didn't. Orochimaru entered the third man's residence. Master, I want permission to reveal Naruto's secret. What secret? That he's the Ninetales Jinchuriki. Why? The third tensed up and was very serious. Kakashi managed to cover up that incident on the bridge. But use that shinobi, a different weapon, and the result could have been much worse. I want him to be prepared for something like that. Have you thought this through? Yes. I'll be able to hold him back if the tailed one's anger consumes him. Good. But the responsibility is yours. I want to do the first training and see how much Kyuubi has manifested. So I'm asking you to give me some shinobi to warn the people closest to him of the danger if anything happens. I'll hold him back, but there's no way around it. Is that all? Unless you have any corrections, yes. Instead of ordinary shinobi, the Anbu will go with you. You don't trust me. You had a turbulent youth. The Mei incident changed you, but you could have recovered and gone back to your old ways. Why do you even want Naruto? Sarutobi replied seriously. Orochimaru was very fond of him, but later he started to become dangerous and obsessed. You are mistaken, master. Orochimaru's voice was very calm. The cause of my changes was Mei, and her death was the catalyst. I lost someone I cared about. I loved her very much. Even Miko I don't love as much. And I took Naruto to warm up to the youngsters and help Miko, but barely getting to know him, I started to feel sorry for him. Lonely and rejected, but fighting for his dreams and the future of the village. He's a good shinobi and a true son of his father. Both were silent. There was nothing to add, nor did they need to. Orochimaru bowed. At the door, he turned around. Thank you for the Anbu, master. It makes you and me feel better. Orochimaru and Naruto stood at one of the training grounds. Sensei, you said this training is very important to me. What is it about? The theory first, said Sannin. Yes, sir. Orochimaru instantly became serious. Do you know why you're hated in the village? No. Naruto's startled Naruto. What do you know about the nine-tailed man? Fox. Biju. The strongest. Almost destroyed Konoha 13 years ago. There's a few other things I know about him. Where did he go? Sealed up somewhere. After a pause, he added. Or in someone. That's right. And that, someone, is you. What? Naruto was utterly amazed. I'm the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Yes. Yes. And that's the reason they hate you. They hate the fox in you. What's that got to do with me? He shouted. To them, it's the same thing. That's the way it is with all Jinchuriki. The Biju occasionally show their temper and control or break free from the Jinchuriki. The seal restraining him and the blood of the Uzumaki clan were a good lock, but that battle on the bridge when you were in serious condition gave him a loophole. The chakra Kyuubi saw in you Sasuke back then. Why me? I can't tell you that. Whoever sealed it in you is dead. You said the blood of the Uzumaki clan. Was that the reason? Trying to calm himself down, he said. Maybe. So what now? I become a weapon. You're already the weapon of the village. You're a shinobi. And as for Kyuubi, he's always been locked up. The village only needs you as a good shinobi. Orochimaru looked at Naruto. He was seething with rage, his own personal rage. But leaving him like this for too long was undesirable. Well, That's the theory, now for the practice. What is it? Naruto asked in a deadpan voice. Self-control. The better you control yourself, the harder it is to subdue you. It's actually good for you. You're too impulsive. I'm just doing this out of the goodness of my heart. That's good, but you must keep a cool head. Let's do it, sensei. 2 hours passed. Orochimaru mentally thanked the third. If there were others instead of Anbu, they would have laughed at him long ago. Naruto was diligent, but it didn't help. His emotions were always running through him. All the meditative techniques failed him. Self-hypnosis also failed because of Naruto's weakness in genjutsu. And Orochimaru didn't like drugs after the incident with Mei. The only thing left was to teach him how to control his own body at a higher level. This science not only allowed him to control his emotions, but also to improve his physical abilities and manipulate his body beyond what was normally accepted. Stop bleeding from a wound by cutting off the flow of blood in the vessels. Produce many of the body's secretions, such as adrenaline, etc., in any given situation. Temporarily strengthen or accelerate muscles. It was a complex science, and he himself was not fully versed in it. But Naruto had an advantage. Determination. He could accomplish a lot just by fixating on a solution. He could not give up. Naruto, I don't think I have a choice. I'm not good for anything. The apprentice asked in a despondent voice. You'll have to learn not just self-control, but body control. Not all taijutsu masters are able to master the techniques in this section. Can I do it? With your physical attributes and perseverance, yes. But it takes a long time. It takes years to learn. I believe you, master, but what? I'm not confident. The techniques are hard for me. Your taijutsu has almost doubled in the time you've been training with me. You really need more individualized training, that's all. As for the techniques, you just haven't learned them yet. Or rather, I haven't taught them to you. Naruto cheered up. Sensei was strict and demanding as well as honest and wise. Tomorrow we will start practicing one technique, it should help you with your training. After saying that, they headed home. The same ground was occupied by them again in the early morning. The technique I want to teach you is shadow cloning. Well, clones were very hard for me. Don't interrupt. Orochimaru rebuked him sternly. It allows you to create not an illusion of you, but a real copy of you. Watch carefully. Orochimaru took his time showing him how to use it. Another Orochimaru appeared. He approached and touched Naruto's shoulder. As you can see, I'm tactile. Now I'll use a couple of techniques, said the clone, and created an air wall and then a wind cutter, and approached the original. The only drawback is their vulnerability, said the original, hitting the clone in the chest. The clone disappeared with a pop. Naruto was impressed. They also transmit to the original all the accumulated information after disappearing, which comes in handy when scouting. The pain too. No. They dissolve before they can sense it. But you'll feel what they've taken. Heat, moisture, cold, pressure, suffocation, touch. Depends on what they're dispelled from. Where did they get the chakra for the techniques? It's your own. You share it with your clone during the summoning. The amount of chakra used is as follows. When you make a clone, you give it half, and then another one, then half again, but now it will have only a quarter of the original. If you give two at once, they'll each get a third. 3, a quarter. So the amount of chakra divided by the number of clones, plus the original. That's right. Where does the chakra not used up by the clones go after they're gone? Where does it go? It returns to you with little loss of experience. Do you have to kill them to remove them? No. No, you can dispel them or he'll dispel himself. No. That's a great technique, Naruto exclaimed. It's not simple, and it's capacious, by the way. But the question of complexity is a matter of time, and the capacity you are not afraid of because of the large stock of chakra. It will also allow you to learn techniques faster. Watching from the sidelines will allow you to better see the errors in the way you do things, and the memory transfer will allow you to evaluate the condition and sensations. Naruto had mastered the technique in a few hours. Sannin now commanded a pair of Naruto every morning. The original watched the mistakes and learned not to repeat them. Wind and sword. What more did a hero need? After a week, Naruto approached Sannin with a request. Sensei, teach me how to use a sword. Where did you get this fascination with weapons? I had admired Zabuza's swordsmanship on the security mission where the incident occurred. I was afraid to ask you before. Orochimaru smiled. He knew the reason for the fear. The taijutsu he taught was tough. The bruises and abrasions didn't have time to come off, even on Miko. But the results were worth it. They learned it quickly. Now, when it came to the sword, Naruto feared that something would be cut off. Why are you getting bolder now? He asked cheerfully. If you're hoping for a clone, you're wrong. This is a science you'll have to learn on your own. Naruto shrank back. Don't be afraid. We use wooden swords in training. I know. But I was afraid you'd use real ones. In the later stages of training, yes. But by then you'll be strong enough to avoid serious injury. And if you do miss a blow, I won't do you any serious harm. You're my apprentice. I teach you so that you prepare for pain and learn to defend yourself. I can finish you off or maim you, more than easily, you know that. Swords will be the same. Painful, but effective. Naruto sighed. Have you changed your mind? The apprentice answered only after a good deal of thought. I'm not sure yet. I'll think it over from all sides and give a final answer. Good choice. You've learned what you were interested in and you're taking advantage of the opportunities in the right way. I can really teach you. But do you want to? That's what's important. By training his body, Sannin decided to start training him in techniques. First, he decided to determine his chakra element. One day he called Naruto and Miko over and handed them some papers. What's this for? Miko asked without understanding. These papers react to the nature of the chakra of those who pass it through them. The paper tore in half in Sannin's hands. That's how it reacts to wind chakra. If you let fire chakra through, it'll char. Earth chakra, she'll crumble to dust. Lightning, it will shrink. Water, she'll get wet. Miko's is probably air or earth. Earth? Naruto asked. Mom had earth. Miko replied. The papers in the genin's hands tore, as did Orochimaru's. Not bad, but I prefer non-elemental techniques. They're harder to block. There's not much to teach you. Miko commented. Yeah. Kakashi doesn't know any of them. Only Danzo is good at wind, but he's not likely to teach you just like that. He's a very dark type. By the way, why didn't Kakashi give you this test? Orochimaru asked after a while. I don't know. I didn't even know about the test. I heard about it at the academy, but I don't remember the details. I'll have to seriously ask him why. Sannin decided out loud. 3 days later, Sannin told Naruto. I talked to Asuma and he'll help you. He's a wind elementalist, and he's also into fighting with weapons. It's not a sword, but it's very beautiful and effective. If you want to learn the sword, he'll help you with advice too. Thank you, sensei. You must go to him tonight. I repeat, you must. Yes, sensei. That evening, Naruto stood where he was supposed to meet Asuma. Whoa, you're early, said Asuma approaching. Greetings, and thank you for your help. I can't say no to a guy like you. Orochimaru himself praised you so much. I hope I live up to his praise. I hope I live up to his praise. Let's get started. For a couple hours, Asuma explained and demonstrated to Naruto the principles of chakra charging weapons and using them in combat. So you can get him remotely with this technique. He finished explaining one of the techniques. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're the only one interested in this. My team uses clan techniques. How's she doing, by the way? Not just out of politeness, Naruto asked. Hard. Asuma said with a sigh. Maybe they need a different approach. Like with me. Kakashi didn't work with me either, but with Miko and Sasuke he did. Naruto, that sounds like a reproach. I meant they need to change teachers. Maybe you just can't teach them anything. It's not your fault, it's just the way things are. I'll try. Good luck. Goodbye. After saying goodbye, Naruto went home. He decided to accept sword training from Orochimaru. He shivered at the bruises he'd received, but he wasn't going to back down. The Chunin exam. The Chunin exam was coming up soon. The 7th team participated in it. They passed the first stage loudly, but successfully. Knowing Naruto's weakness in theory, they came up with the following plan. Naruto, sometime after the exam began, distracts the observers and examiners, while Sasuke and Miko toss him the answers at the same time. Naruto did a great job. First, he made a clone with the words, "One head is good, but two are better," and they began to noisily discuss the questions. Then, the original or the clone, they still didn't understand, using arrow jutsu started pestering the examiner for answers. Ibiki refused to answer as much as he could, in deep shock at the show. After fighting off Naruto, he wanted to kick him out, but changed his mind, realizing that it was for a reason and it was his too. Appreciating the strategic move, Ibiki smiled. This way too, you can complete missions as long as you got everyone's attention. Your comrades completed the mission without hassle or fuss. Ibiki watched Naruto return to his previous state. The other one was gone. He set himself up, not a clone. That's right though. The clone is too fragile and might not have been able to stand as long as he needed to. With these thoughts he waited for the results of their operation. Naruto returned to his seat and found the answer sheet filled out. In his handwriting, filled out. And a note, "You overdid it." The next stage was in the Forest of Death. They started with the Earth scroll, and after the first fight, they got the Sky scroll. However, as long as they reached the target, they got 2 more Earths. At the qualifying bouts, Miko and Sasuke passed. Naruto lost to the Cloud Guy, getting a scar across his chest from his sword. If Naruto hadn't dodged, the blow would have been his last. As it was, he had time to surrender. The month of preparation for the third stage had been intense. Sasuke was somewhere practicing with Kakashi-sensei. Miko was practicing with her father. Naruto, after her wound healed, was helping her. It was time for the exam. Sasuke and Neji were the first to duel. Sasuke almost miraculously won after being exhausted. Then it was Temari and Shikamaru. Shikamaru outclassed his opponent tactically, and when the victory was close, he gave up on the grounds that he was almost out of chakra. This fight was appreciated by a lot of people. Third were Gaara and the guy who defeated Naruto. The fight was over with a single hold. All that was left of the guy was blood stains on Gaara's sand. Fourth was supposed to be Miko and Kankuro, but Kankuro gave up before the fight even started. In the second stage of the tournament, Miko and Temari fought first. Temari lost. Miko was badly injured, but managed to stay on her feet. Blood was flowing from her side, torn by the technique. As soon as the referee declared her victory, Naruto immediately rushed to her. He picked her up, and the clone led the Irionans. Sasuke and Gaara fought next. During the fight, Gaara lost control and began to transform. Taking this as a signal, the Sand Shinobi attacked Konoha. A difference in strength and attitudes. Gaara ran into the forest. Sasuke and Naruto behind him. He's a Jinchuriki. Shit. Sasuke was angry. That's why we're going in together. Until he's fully converted, we have a good chance of taking him down. The key is to work together as a team. He's still very dangerous. Naruto was giving out all the information he knew. We're surrounded. How many? 6. Those 2 are mine, the rest are up to you. Naruto, you won't make it. I can handle the others faster than you can handle those 2. Shouted Sasuke, jumping back. Naruto pulled out 2 kunai and lunged at his opponents. After finishing them off, he finished off the third with a throw. Naruto, you killed too easily. Sasuke stunned his opponents. I'm sorry. Orochimaru sensei's training is taking its toll. How are you still alive? Sasuke added with a chuckle. Thanks to him, replied Naruto seriously. They were close to the target. Half of his face, his right arm and part of his torso were engulfed in sand. He immediately attacked his friends. They kept facing each other, keeping Gaara between them and attacking him on the variable. The layer of sand protected him too well. Therefore, they only made him angrier. They reunited again to discuss the next course of action. Crap, I can't apply Chidori, there's not enough time. Sasuke, otherwise we won't get him. I'll distract him, you hit him. You'll die. There's not enough time. He's almost talking. Be careful. Naruto jumped back and used his seals to create an air wall. Gaara immediately switched to him. Naruto backed away and taunted him. Sasuke took aim and began to prepare for the Chidori. Naruto was throwing kunai and techniques at Gaara. Chidori. Sasuke wouldn't miss. He knew he wouldn't get a second chance. Gaara reacted to Sasuke's attack, but he couldn't dodge. He didn't need to. The transformation began to gather pace. Damn it. We didn't make it. Naruto's frustration was understandable. They were no longer facing a possessed Jinchuriki, but the Biju himself. Sasuke, run. They ran away. After a while, Naruto stopped. What are you doing? Sasuke didn't understand why his friend had stopped. I can buy time for the village, but you'll only get in the way. Run, warn them that he's fully awakened. What about you? Don't worry, I won't die. Good. Sasuke trusted his friend, so he ran as fast as he could. He trusted his friend, but the enemy was too strong. You sacrifice everything for the village. Even your life. And she didn't appreciate you. I'll make sure it's not forgotten. Naruto had his chance. Orochimaru had taught him the summoning technique. But he'd never summoned anyone big. Chakra's enough, but skill. Kuchio's ninjutsu. There's no time for doubts. The serpent that appeared was huge. Who dares summon me? His voice was filled with anger. Konoha was attacked by Sand Shinobi. What does that have to do with me? They unleashed Shukaku. So what? That's no reason to call. He was stopped from speaking by Shukaku attacking him from behind. The snake hissed angrily. I'll deal with you now. The raccoon and the serpent stood opposite each other. The snake prepared for battle. Naruto watched these two giants and marveled. This fight would be a memorable one for him. Hey you. The boy who summoned me. Yes. I'm listening. Naruto had to shout to be heard. Are you just going to stand there? I didn't mean to disturb you. But if I can help, just tell me how. Who gave you the draft contract? Orochimaru himself. He's got a lot of nerve. Letting a boy like that draft me. Meme wasn't happy, but he didn't take his eyes off the fight. No. Sensei warned me not to call on anyone big. Just for the sake of the village, I thought I'd take the risk. Well, then. It's your village, and it's yours to defend. I'll just help you deal with him. Hop on. Naruto immediately approached and began to jump on the serpent's head. A good way to defeat it is to finish it off with Jinchuriki. Only he must be awakened first, or Shukaku will gain his freedom. Once he wakes up, Jinchuriki will regain control. Do you have to kill him? No, but it's easier and faster. Naruto felt sorry for Gaara. Killing wasn't a problem, because of his training with Sannin. He just knew what it was like to be a Jinchuriki, hated and seen only as the beast inside. He decided to stop him without killing him. And then he'd take it from there. Okay, snake yourself. My name is Manda. Remember that name. Yes, Manda yourself. What a well-mannered boy. Manda said with a chuckle. And brave. Orochimaru should have warned him of the danger of summoning me. Boy, listen carefully. I'll take him, and you take care of Jinchuriki. Okay. Manda prepared to jump and immediately rushed over. Almost instantly, he had Shukaku entangled. Naruto jumped towards Gaara. He was attacked by sand jets clinging to him. Ha ha ha. It didn't work. I realize the boy is my weak spot. Shukaku cheered. Manda opened his mouth and Naruto jumped out. Taking advantage of the fact that Shukaku was celebrating his victory over the clone, he was able to approach the sleeping Gaara at point-blank range. And kicked him in the chest. Gaara woke up immediately. Shit. Shukaku shouted and fell silent. Gaara was breathing heavily, gasping for air, and Naruto dictated terms. Surrender. We've already defeated Shukaku. Don't make us kill you. You don't have the guts. Gaara tried to snap at him. No. I just want to keep you alive. I'm a Jinchuriki, too. I know what it's like. He spoke calmly. Then why don't you kill? Are you intimidated? Tamed? Made you a toy? No, it's just that I proved to them that I and the fox are different personalities. Gaara chuckled nervously. That doesn't do anything. You were a monster and you're still a monster. Wrong. I wasn't still a shinobi. And the fox is just the one inside me. He just sits there. You're good. You're good. You're not afraid to fall asleep and wake up with that beast sticking out of your head. You're not getting killed by shinobi from your own village. Gaara shouted until he was hoarse. And your brother and sister. Gaara wanted to say something, but didn't know what. Noticing this, Naruto continued. They love you and care for you. They cherish me like a valuable weapon. Do you think so? I'm sure. I don't. I've seen the way they treat you. They fear your anger, but they still try to take care of you. Lies. It's not nice when stereotypes are broken. But they do. Not everyone hates you. Gaara was filled with anger. How dare he teach me? I am the Sand's most feared weapon. I'll deal with this insolent man. Those thoughts rushed through his head. He tried to attack Naruto. Naruto got away easily. Manda squeezed the sandy body and it crumbled. Now Gaara had no advantage. He was hanging in the air in front of Naruto and Manda. One throw of the serpent and even his absolute defense wouldn't hold. He resigned himself to his death. Gaara, run. I'll hold him off. The words rang out along with the aerial technique. Temari sent technique after technique standing in one of the trees. Kankuro jumped up to Gaara. Hurry Gaara, she won't be able to hold them off for long. Gaara looked at their faces. There was a lot of emotion in them. But most of all, he saw worry. No. You run. I'll hold them off as long as I can. I'm a monster and I have to fight them. Temari's techniques made Manda uncomfortable. He attacked her. But all he hit was a void. The tree she was standing on was already empty and broken by Manda's attack. The renewed attacks suggested her whereabouts. She dodged the renewed attack, but was hit by a wave from the impact. She rolled back and tried to get up, realizing she was unlikely to make it. Suddenly she was picked up in her arms. Gaara, I told you so. Temari looked at her savior, it was Naruto. He was carrying her to Gaara and Kankuro. They care about you. They even risked their lives for you. Manda was shocked, and that was the only thing that saved the insolent man from death. Taking his sacrifice from him. Unheard of. Orochimaru has the nerve to let his students do that. And then it hit him. Orochimaru didn't tell the boy about him. That was the only way to explain these actions. Manda watched Naruto and pondered. The boy was strong enough to summon him, to snatch his prey from under his nose, to fight so successfully. Let her go. Kankuro was on alert. She's badly hurt. She doesn't want to strain herself. Let her go. Kankuro repeated. All right. But take care of her, she's very weak. Temari gathered her remaining strength and struck Naruto with her fan. Naruto didn't have time to do anything. Temari rolled back and Kankuro immediately sent his puppet to finish him off. The blade hit the sand. Gaara. Temari and Kankuro stared at the shield of sand that covered Naruto. He saved Temari and took pity on me. He opened my eyes to reality. He also explained the difference between us. He defeated me and would have defeated you, but he decided to end the fight. Let's go. Konoha won, am I right? Yes, but let's go. Or he'll kill us, said Gaara, pointing at Manda. The kid's right. I'll kill you as soon as you get near him. Manda was lying. He wouldn't have moved for Naruto, but he liked his courage, so he decided to confirm Jinchuriki Shukaku's words. Sheet, who had been protecting Naruto, moved over and picked up Temari. Gaara turned and walked, and the sand holding Temari flew after him. Kankuro backed away cautiously, following the kite. A change for the better. Konoha had repelled the attack. The sand shinobi retreated as quickly as possible. They had lost the cage. They were being pressed from all sides. The attack had failed. Konoha's shinobi rejoiced. But a part of them remembered and understood perfectly what had happened to Gaara. When Sasuke arrived, the worst fears were confirmed. Immediately, the gathering of those who could stand up to Shukaku began. Orochimaru stood on the wall and looked into the distance. When Shukaku and then Manda appeared, he understood the situation well. Naruto wanted what was best for him, and instead he may have created another problem. He rushed as fast as he could, hoping that it would all go away. Manda was very strong and ferocious. He killed his enemies with gusto and without pity. Orochimaru had been like that himself. He used to be. Now he needed to stop Manda before he made trouble. As he ran out to the scene of the battle, he noticed a strange sight to him. Manda was staring at Naruto's body, thinking about something. He's alive, the serpent said without turning around. Where's Shukaku? We defeated him. I defeated the Biju, and he defeated the Jinchuriki. What happened next? Not only did he keep him alive, but he snatched the girl who was protecting him out from under me. Instead of thanking him, she stunned him. I let them go. Did you explain to him who I was? No, I didn't think it would happen that way. I expected him to gain strength and experience first, and then I would explain to him who you were and the danger of calling on you. But he said you warned him not to draft anyone big. He's still afraid of snakes. It's for his own peace of mind. I'll keep him alive. He's brave and has potential. But this is the first and last time. He'll have to pay for the next one in full. With these words, Manda disappeared. Orochimaru took his student in his arms. You're a lucky boy. You're lucky to be on Miko's team. Sannin slung Naruto over his shoulder. He's not a sissy, he'll get over it. At least you'll have one arm free. Sasuke, seeing Naruto hanging from Orochimaru's shoulder, was about to cry out and blame everyone. He died like a hero and you didn't love him. Sannin saw this and calmed him down. He's just unconscious. He's almost all right. Almost. Yes, just a little bruise on the head. He got hit for saving one of them. He got hit for saving one of them. They're so dishonorable. No, they probably thought he wanted to use her as a hostage. Personally, I'd think so too, and I'm not the only one. It's a common practice in war. Is it serious? Sasuke was worried about his friend. He didn't expect Naruto to survive the fight. And if he died over nothing, it would really suck. Not really. He's been through worse. Or was it a clone? Sannin pretended to remember. Sasuke was scared. He wouldn't have wished Naruto to have such a teacher even before, and even less so now that they were friends. I was joking. But I do train him and Miko very hard. So he should be able to survive. Still, Irionen should have him examined. Sasuke ran to find Irionen. Orochimaru went towards the hospital. Irionen is definitely there, and will check on Miko at the same time. When she was taken away from the arena on a stretcher, he was worried, as a father should be, but he realized that he couldn't help her and stayed to watch the fight between Gaara and Sasuke. All the more reason for the Naruto clone to go with her. Sasuke was running around Konoha and when he came across a kunoichi using a medical technique on one of the wounded, he approached her. Are you Irionen? A little. What happened? A bruised head. Sasuke was in a hurry. How long have you been here? Judging by your condition, since I was a kid. Sasuke didn't appreciate the joke. Can you help me? I can heal external wounds. But I can't heal the deeper effects, if there are any. You need a specialist. Where can I find one? You'll feel better. You'll feel better. I'm beginning to think that joke wasn't a joke. At the hospital, of course. I'm sorry. I'm worried about my friend. He's not the only one who got hurt. A bruise is nothing. Where did he get it, by the way? In a fight with the Jinchuriki of the sand. Yes. The kunoichi and the patient looked at Sasuke with wild eyes. Surely he bumped his head. The kunoichi asked suspiciously. Not bruised, but he was bruised. He refrained from elaborating. He realized how he looked from the outside and how his story would sound. Sasuke wanted to run to the hospital for a specialist, but realized he didn't know where to call one. Then he grunted, realizing that's probably where Orochimaru had probably taken Naruto. He headed towards the hospital, thinking aloud about his behavior along the way. I wasn't like this before. Now I'm more impulsive and do a lot of stupid things. With a chuckle, he remembered Miko's words about how teams were assembled. What strengths can Naruto have? He had answered then. He realized now, whether on purpose or not, they had a good counterbalance thrown into their team. Sasuke, after the death of the clan, had become cold and unsociable, and Miko had always been slightly shunned because of his father's fame. Naruto had loosened both of them up. Sasuke couldn't stay cold in front of him, he had a knack for pissing them off. And his kindness and simplicity had a way of disposing him once you got to know him better. With those thoughts, he remembered how Naruto used to be. Now he was more professional and colder. Sasuke finished his thought out loud. Orochimaru had taught him well, including how to kill. These changes made him uncomfortable. Naruto woke up. Nearby, Sasuke was dozing sitting in a chair. Naruto didn't want to wake him up. But he was very thirsty. His attempts to gingerly reach the glass on the nightstand woke Sasuke up. "Good morning," greeted Naruto to his friend. "Yeah, how are you?" Sasuke asked him what he was most worried about. "I've had worse. Orochimaru beats you a lot." Sasuke remembered Sanin's joke last night in his own thoughts. "Why are you so interested?" "No reason. Your teacher confessed yesterday that he trains you hard." "Hard. But..." Naruto tried to find the words that could explain that this toughness is not so tough and very effective. From his friend's hesitation, Sasuke realized he's afraid of Orochimaru. Otherwise he would have answered something. Naruto realized from his friend's face that Sasuke was drawing the wrong conclusions from his hesitation. "Sasuke, what were you thinking?" Well, he didn't want to tell his friend his conclusions. "Honestly, I feel like we don't understand each other. I think you're afraid of your teacher." He reluctantly admitted. "I am. He's a creepy guy. In places. But his training is effective. If you reacted to my hesitation, it was just me trying to explain that the brutality is justified by the results. Besides, we didn't get any serious injuries during training. Why didn't you say so in the first place?" "I'm just now finding the right words. You said he was a creepy guy." Yes. But given his past, it's normal. You could be one too." Speaking of which, Sasuke decided to say what he thought. "You're getting colder and tougher. You're already killing easily." "I know what you mean, Sasuke. But you're looking at the wrong side of the situation. He's lost his parents, fought in wars, carried out missions to eliminate dangerous Nukenin from other villages and criminals. It's a lifelong habit of killing the enemy. But it has not turned into a lust for killing. He teaches us the way he's used to doing things. Miko and I kill easily, but in training we just fight. Remember the Chunin exam. Miko had serious wounds, and she only stunned her opponent. By the way, she's the one who knocked me out. Miko's opponent. I was trying to help her." "I know. Orochimaru told me." "How does he know?" "I have no idea. Maybe he's been watching you." "Maybe. It was easy for Shukaku and he decided not to interfere. And then, when I was stunned, he saved me." One of the Irionen entered the room. "Please leave the room. I need to do a thorough examination. The fight he suffered could have left serious consequences." "Naruto, goodbye. I'm going to check on Miko." After saying goodbye, Sasuke immediately went to Miko's house. The first thing he did was ask where her room was. When he found it, he was surprised. Next to Miko's bed, Naruto was asleep. "When did you get here?" "You're being examined." Naruto woke up. He looked at Miko. She was asleep. He turned to Sasuke. "Let's go outside, I don't want to wake her up," he said in a whisper and led Sasuke into the hallway. "How did the attack end?" "I heard they released Shukaku." "You defeated him." Sasuke was shocked. "How?" "I don't know. You beat him. I guess that punch didn't go unnoticed." "What kind of blow?" "The head." "You don't remember anything." "I don't know anything. I was guarding Miko from the Sand Shinobi." "You ran after Gaara with me when he started transforming." "I'm the clone Naruto sent to watch over Miko." Sasuke remembered that Naruto had actually sent a clone for such a purpose. It looked like he was still holding out. "That explains it. I'm sorry, I forgot about you. I thought you were the original." "Okay. You said something about beating Shukaku and hitting him in the head." "I'll find out when I'm out. But I don't want to leave Miko. I'm really curious." Sasuke summarized what he knew. "How is she?" "She'll be here for a while. But it's nothing serious." Sasuke said goodbye to the clone and went home. The search for the Hokage's successor. The rebuilding of Konoha was in full swing. Everyone was working hard, but there was one detail that soured the mood. The third was in serious condition. He had managed to defeat the Kazekage, but his age and wounds had almost killed him. It was urgent to find a replacement. They decided to turn to his students. Orochimaru refused at once, and the third had long since taken him off the list. Jiraiya, who had arrived, also refused. But he agreed to help in the search for Tsunade. If he doesn't become the Hokage, he can at least cure the teacher. Orochimaru refused to keep him company, arguing that he and Tsunade had a grudge and that it would hurt him. But he gave him Naruto. He's your student's son, and you're a bit more gentle. He could use some lessons from you. At the same time, you can teach him Rasengan. When they got to Orochimaru's house, the Sanins talked about many things. They talked about their past battles, their outings, their failures and victories. The conversation turned to Jiraiya's favorite topic. There was a time, when I was young and hot, when I chased them and they chased me. You're still chasing them now. I'm collecting material for a book. Without any pleasure. Who are you lying to? I know you like the back of my hand. What? I want it to be true. Okay, that's not the point. Well, that's not the point. How are your books selling? It's great. Jiraiya bragged. Good for you. Orochimaru replied calmly. Just then, Team 7 entered without the captain. Miko had already been healed, but her friends were keeping her safe, and they were trying to take all the heavy lifting for themselves as they worked to rebuild the village. She sulked, but was happy to be taken care of. Here comes the little, Fluffy. Jiraiya greeted her sincerely. One more such greeting and the price of your books will increase due to the death of the author. Miko replied sternly. She was embarrassed that her friends had heard that. Miko. It's from the heart. And you're being rude. Father wasn't happy. I've just grown up. Sasuke and Naruto laughed quietly behind her back. Miko blushed. I'm sorry. But that's so sweet. I've seen your childhood pictures, by the way. I totally agree with that nickname. Justified Naruto. Where did you get them? Like a true shinobi, I've been gathering information from the darkness and corners of this house. Sounds nice. Orochimaru said, except he just came up and asked me for them. What a true shinobi. Miko snorted. It's the result that counts. I've seen the pictures. Everyone laughed. Then the Sanins told them that Jiraiya had to find Tsunade and Naruto was going with him. Naruto thought about it and asked if he could go with his team. Miko refused, saying that she already knew Jiraiya and wouldn't learn anything new. Sasuke said he wouldn't leave her alone. But he was talked out of it. She has already recovered, and if anything, her father will take care of her. After getting ready to go, our heroes went to the supposed location of Tsunade. On the way, they practiced their moves. Naruto was having a hard time with the Rasengan. He managed the first 2 stages. But he couldn't do the final one. But Sasuke, with the help of the Sharingan, learned it quickly. He practiced using it with all his might. Naruto and his clone panted over the technique as hard as they could, but alas. Finally they reached the town where Tsunade was supposed to be. They checked into a hotel and went to look for her at the nearest casino. So kids, what do you know about the 3 vices? Jiraiya asked in a stern voice. Thanks to you, everything in detail. Sasuke said honestly. No, not so much about girls. We left in time, corrected Naruto. There were strong doubts in Sanin's mind. He was wrong to relax in front of them after all. But it was too late now. Just don't do what I did. Look for Tsunade. How will we recognize her? The genin asked a question. It's easy. There she is, said Sanin, pointing toward the blonde in green who had lost yet again. Mission accomplished. Naruto rejoiced. I wouldn't say that. She didn't leave Konoha for nothing. She has a lot of unpleasant memories there. Jiraiya said in a serious tone. What are we going to do? Sasuke was ready for action. Calm and collected. Try to convince her. The main thing is to convince her to come to Konoha to cure the third. But don't hold back on the fact that she's being invited to be Hokage. The task is clear. They went to see Tsunade. Ms. Tsunade, I think it's for you, said the girl next to Tsunade, pointing at Jiraiya. Shizune, that's Jiraiya. Don't you remember him? But those 2 boys, that's new. I hope he doesn't need them for his new book. Jiraiya approached Tsunade. Do you know what happened in Konoha? No. And I don't want to. She was attacked by Sand Shinobi during the Chunin exam. The attack was repulsed. I said I don't want to know. The third is badly hurt. He needs your help. Tsunade hesitated. She respected and loved Sarutobi Hiruzen. Is there something else? Feeling that it wasn't everything, she asked. Yes. But the main thing is the third one. What isn't the main thing? Jiraiya was silent, he didn't want to force his friend. Naruto intervened. The Hokage is looking for a successor. You're the prime candidate. So here's the deal. He wanted to lure me in on the pretext of curing the teacher. No. I want you to cure him. He's really bad. I thought time had dulled the pain. If not, just fix him, we'll look for another candidate. Just like that. You're not the only one in the world. And he'll try to talk you into it, too. Okay. Shizune will take care of him. I don't think there were any wounds. The wounds have been taken care of. What we need is your help to do what we can. Naruto stood tense. He could barely contain his anger. But the training had not gone to waste. Everything he wanted to say to this person, he kept to himself. When he was done, Jiraiya led the boys to the hotel. When the words of the heart are more important than reason. Tsunade decided to stop by Jiraiya's room to find out when they were going out. The door was ajar. As she approached, she heard the sound. I don't understand. You tell me the real reason why she was the top candidate for Hokage. I'm more suitable. She's rude and narcissistic. Shouts the blonde man, apparently. He was angry for a reason. Naruto, I told you, they already tried to bring her back to the village. She had a lot of bad memories there. And she got hemophobia there. That's Jiraiya's voice. That's what I'm talking about. She's lost 2 loved ones and she's afraid of blood. The blonde again. Calm down, Naruto. That's probably the voice of the other guy who came with Jiraiya. Sasuke, your whole clan was slaughtered. You've seen your parents bleeding and your brother standing over them, slaughtering them all. But it only embittered you against your brother. The blonde man's words sent a chill down Tsunade's spine. I'm sorry for reminding you. It was wrong of me. Added the blonde. Wait, I need to calm down. After a while, the blonde man's words were heard. The summoning technique. Are you poisonous? He asked. All right, let's summon another one. It came again. The summoning technique. Are you poisonous? Bite my hand. Don't spare any poison. Thank you. Naruto, what's this for? The other boy's voice. The poison spreads slower if you slow your heartbeat. It's also a good way to calm down. Blonde guy. Isn't it dangerous? Jiraiya. I have some immunity. I'll get the poison out before it does any real damage. Blonde man, taking his time, in a calm voice. It helps. Jiraiya. With a chuckle, judging by his tone. I'm still mad at her. Blood is not something to be afraid of. Losing it, yes, is to be feared. But not to fear it. You don't understand her. You've never had someone close to you die in your arms. Jiraiya is sad. What about Miko? She's alive, but she's lost a lot of blood. She stood on stubbornness alone. I was afraid she would die. Proudly and foolishly. The clone didn't leave her because she was at death's door. That's what Irena said. Sasuke, he didn't tell you that so as not to worry you. What news? Extreme surprise. It's similar, but not the same. Who is she to you? Comrade. Jiraiya's voice. Miko, Sasuke, Orochimaru-san, Iruka-sensei. They're all like family to me. They're the first to accept me. I'd risk a lot for them. I could feel the steel in my voice. Naruto, we're arguing for nothing. You don't understand. When you see the blood of loved ones on your hands, it's horrible. Jiraiya made an attempt to protect Tsunade again. Miko was covered in blood. You're right, though. My wounds were only licked by the wind. I had no parents, and everyone hated me. Almost everyone. They didn't pity me, they just scolded me and chased me away. There was anger in the blonde's voice. I could tell he was being honest. All that he had long ago accumulated. After a while, he added. But for some reason, I still want the good of this village. And to become Hokage. So that there would be no more like me. Naruto, are you sure you're all right? You don't look healthy. The other boy's voice filled with concern. I'm too excited. And the snake seems to be poisonous. Don't you know anything about them? Then why did you use this method? I thought I could do it. Okay, I'll get the poison out. After a while, I heard something. You'd better lie down. Jiraiya's voice. Yes, you're right. The sound of people getting on the bed. Tsunade, is Shizune with you? Jiraiya asked. No. How long have you known? When you were walking down the hall. Get Shizune. He was draining poison from a leg wound. Did you at least bandage it? Yes, he did. I'll look for symptoms. As you wish. Tsunade came in. The blonde man was lying unconscious on the bed. There was a fresh bandage on his right leg. She began to examine him. The poisoning isn't serious yet, but there's still poison left. If it's not removed, it can do a lot of damage. She said. She removed the bandage from his leg. It's not a bad technique, but it's poorly executed. Tsunade, fighting her fear, began to remove the remnants of the poison. The fresh wound, apparently inflicted by a kunai, and the blood coming out with the poison scared her badly, but even with trembling hands, she did the right thing. Bandage him. He's out of danger. His body should be able to handle the rest. If not, use the standard poison pills. They should be in everyone's gear. Or get some from Shizune. She said, quickly turning away and wiping her hands. Are you okay? Jiraiya worried. He's right about a lot of things. I'm coming with you. But I'm not promising to become Hokage. That's more than enough. Don't tell him it was me who removed the rest of the poison. He might take offense. He'll get over it. The brunette replied cheerfully. He's been through worse. You know what I mean. On the way back, the training session was back in full swing. Shizune marveled at how determined the boys were. Naruto, with unbreakable stubbornness, tried to complete the Rasengan. And Sasuke was comprehending the variety of cadens known to Jiraiya. Tsunade looked on with a sneer. Young people. Upon reaching Konoha, Jiraiya took Tsunade and Shizune to the third. He sent the boys to rest after the road. Sasuke and Naruto decided to find Miko and Kakashi sensei first. Kakashi was on a mission, and Miko was resting at home. Miko, sensei. We're back. From the doorstep Naruto warned. How's that? Did you get it? Orochimaru asked. Not quite. She agreed to examine the third Hokage. But she's not going to become the third Hokage. Replied Sasuke. That's something. She's never been able to get into the village before. Not even by force. He said the last part with a smile. What's the big deal? Naruto asked in confusion. She's still the strongest, in terms of brute strength. You can't tell from the looks of it. Technique. Yes. It concentrates chakra and enhances physical strength. So much so that it can send a member of the Akamichi clan flying 100 meters with a single flick. If not more. Shilna. Miko. You haven't seen what she can do with her fists. Sensei. And about the Akamichi clan member, was there a real case, or did you just say that as an example? Almost. We were young then and she wasn't that strong yet. But Choji's grandfather flew 25 meters away. The third one's health check was in full swing. The first thing Tsunade did was check the integrity of the bones. That's a weak spot in old men. The bones were fine for his age and not long ago, repaired. His internal organs weren't too badly damaged either. But there were foreign bodies all over his body. When asked what it could be, the third said it was probably gold dust and sand. The cage had used them to attack. That made things very difficult. Getting every grain was long and difficult, but if it wasn't done, there would be no improvement. Truly a task for the best Irionen. Tsunade was awakened with excitement. She will solve this task. She would. A serious approach to a serious mission. Team 7 was sent on a joint mission, along with Team 10. Their task was to deal with a gang operating in the mountains. The main task of extermination fell to the captains. The genin needed to track them down and gather all the information. They had to learn how to work together. And Shikamaru had to be in command. Asuma had immediately said that Ino and Choji were at his complete disposal and he would not interfere. The interaction between the teams didn't start off well. Oh. The famous Baka trio. Greeted the 7th and 10th. But we have a Chunin. Grit her teeth and parried the 10th. And we beat Shukaku. Not you, but Naruto. And not Naruto himself. But more of us made it to the finals. That didn't help you anyway. The captains decided to separate their pupils before they started fighting. Kakashi felt sorry for Asuma's boys. Miko, Sasuke and Naruto had long been dangerous opponents, both individually and as a team. Ino and Choji, on the other hand, were no threat yet. Shikamaru was a good tactician, but his strengths were limited to that. Without support, he couldn't do anything against even one opponent. Stop. You were sent on this mission to make friends. Asuma's always been friendly. Don't worry, Asuma. We'll tell them everything now, and then we'll have nothing to add. So bear with us, it won't take long. Miko said in a conciliatory tone. Or for a long time. They have their drawbacks. Naruto added. Everyone but the three friends were stunned by this speech. Asuma, I'm sorry. My boys are a little cocky. I'll take care of them later. Kakashi tried to justify himself. And as usual, you're late. That was Sasuke. Is this a riot? Asuma's astonishment was unprecedented. You could put it that way. We haven't decided what to call it yet. Miko added thoughtfully. It was going to take a turn for the worse. But the rebels themselves spoiled everything by laughing loudly. Excuse us. Synchronously they said, bowing. What was that? Kakashi was curious about that question. As we said, we'll tell everyone everything now, and then, there will be nothing to add. Sasuke explained. Note. We have no claims, only to Asuma herself. Emphasized Naruto. And each other. You didn't feel sorry for yourselves. Ino interjected. No. Naruto replied slyly. We told ourselves everything a long time ago. And made it clear. What we want to do to each other for this. Said Sasuke, smiling broadly. So we almost killed each other. Kakashi-sensei came just in time when we ran out of chakra and stabbing. Miko added. But now we're the best team ever. The friends hugged each other. Asuma laughed. He liked the prank. Kakashi cursed himself for being late. And the 10th team was still sulking. When they got to the mountains, the first thing they did was to repeat all the information they knew and start making a plan. They are somewhere between 40 and 45 people. So they must have a large base. You can't hide a crowd like that in one cabin. And it's not easy to keep them warm. The mountains are snowy. Miko began. They attack mostly from the south side. There's a highway that's often used. But a search of the area by the guards turned up nothing. Ino interjected. Yes, nothing was found there. A concentration of hills and peaks, on one side of the path and not particularly steep slope on the other. Sasuke had already studied the topography from the map and the testimony of those who used the tract. They probably have sentry posts at both ends of the path. They always attack on time and to the best of their ability. Attempts to send reinforcements to follow the bait were unsuccessful. They either didn't make it in time or were not attacked. But they've taken empty caravans many times before. So they don't have their own men in them. Shikamaru said. Everyone had long ago realized that Shikamaru was an excellent tactician and thinker. He reacted almost instantly to a situation and decided what to do with it, thinking through more than one or even several options. So where do you think their base could be? Since it's not on the south side, not the same topography, but they still have time to get a report from the sentries and prepare for the attack. Asked Sasuke a question. Most likely on the west side. There are convenient places for a base there. Forest for warmth. And it's not attractive because of the uphill climb. They could just roll down, save time. Hide the loot nearby first, then either pick it up or send it straight to the market. I don't understand how they're feeding information to each other. Shadow clones. It dissipates and in a second, you already know everything. Suggested Naruto. No. They don't appear to be shinobi. And it doesn't explain what they knew about the backup and how far away it is. Refuted Shikamaru. Something clearly visible was also out of the question. Otherwise, the victims themselves would have noticed. The birds were having a hard time because of the winds blowing around here. Everyone realized that. First, they decided to find out when the next caravan was, in the nearest town. After entering it, they scattered. Sasuke went to canvass the eastern part of the town. That was where the market and warehouses were located. Naruto the northern. There were stores that had goods coming in through the tract. Miko was sent to go shopping and make arrangements for a night's lodging. She didn't argue. Naruto had too little experience at this, and Sasuke, though better, was also inferior to her. All the more flattering to her that she was trusted in these matters almost unconditionally. She'd learned the predilections of her comrades and shopped perfectly at all times, saving time and money. Asuma had gone with her for the same reason. Well, almost the same reason. There were no others like Miko on his team. Ino followed Naruto. Just shopping. Choji to a restaurant, and Shikamaru with him. Kakashi jumped on the roof of the house and read his book. Toward evening, they reconvened. The caravan should pass the city, in 5 days. Plus a day for loading and unloading. And then on the 7th day, it will be on the highway. Said Sasuke. In 11 days, should come to the city, through the tract, the caravan, which is suspected of being a victim of bandits. Naruto said. 7 or 10. Shikamaru thought to himself. 10. Choji didn't understand. The caravan will take a day to reach the city. So it'll be on the highway in 10. Ino explained. Choji replied and continued chewing his chips. So, what did you find out? Besides what kind of clothes they sell here, and what kind of food they serve? Naruto asked. The common people are also sure that the caravan coming here will be the victim. There's a lot of talk about it. Shikamaru replied. What about our supplies? Ino asked. We'll have enough for you, but Choji will have to save money if we're stuck in the mountains for more than 3 days. Asuma replied, pointing to the heavy bags. The Miko simply said what went into the sets of their backpacks. The backpacks were not large and comfortable. One could easily move around anywhere with those. And judging by what Miko named, the 7th team could live in these mountains for 5 days without much trouble. Asuma felt Naruto's words about the other teacher were prophetic. I think most would support the idea of attacking the second caravan. So we have 9 days to find the gang ourselves. Summarized Kakashi. No one noticed when he showed up. Kakashi-sensei, here's your backpack. Miko handed him his luggage. Thank you. Kakashi thanked her. We'll rest now and leave tomorrow. Asuma announced the end of the meeting. The elusive gang. The next morning, both teams hit the road. To Naruto's surprise, Choji carried his supplies by himself. He'd thought Asuma was going to carry everything. As they passed one of the houses, Miko frowned. This is so tasteless. What are you talking about? Miko nodded at the structure on the roof. It was a collection of shiny things. I agree. It's a piece of crap. They say it was put up by some weirdo. Like he needed it for his religion. He himself is quiet, does not touch anyone, and conducts his rituals without disturbing anyone. Ino shared the information. It took them about 6 hours to get to the mountains. It took them 2 more hours to climb the path. Then they split up to cover more territory. If they found anything, they agreed to signal. Sasuke and Asuma with their Kaidens. Kakashi could also use his Raiden. The division was as follows. Kakashi accompanies Naruto and Shikamaru. Naruto is good at close combat and can cover Shikamaru. Shikamaru, on the other hand, will be able to strategize for him. Sasuke, as the strongest, will go with Ino. Asuma will accompany Miko and Choji. Miko didn't want to go with Choji, and Naruto supported her, but recognized that they were the most convenient combinations. Asuma and Kakashi were not to interfere until a direct confrontation, as the mission dictated. After 3 days, they returned to get food and spend the night in the warmth. The next morning they traveled to the mountains again. Then they returned again. The search was unsuccessful. If we don't find them in 2 days, we'll have to catch them on the caravan. Shikamaru remarked on the way to the mountains. Everyone agreed with him. The second day was coming to an end. They gathered at the temporary camp. They were discussing various things. Suddenly Naruto said, "Can you believe there's a weirdo like that in another town?" "What do you mean?" "We didn't understand him. You know that shiny thing on the roof of the house? There's one in the other town too. I sent my clone to climb up higher, and he saw it." Shikamaru was thinking. Did anyone notice that thing in this city? Can you see it from here? Most of them knew what he was talking about right away. We didn't look closely. But probably. Sasuke replied. The signaling issue was solved. At this distance, there was no danger of signaling their location by fire or sound. By the time the caravan reaches them, they'll be prepared. And they'll know whether they have help or not. It's a pity they didn't see it sooner. We could have interrogated those weirdos. Now we'll have to catch them on the caravan. The next day, the caravan passed through without interference. They accompanied it all the way through the mountains, disguised as members of the caravan. They seem to know about us. Shikamaru summarized. We've been hanging around for 10 days. And in the city, we didn't hide our mission. Ino replied. So now we have to look for them, not hoping they'll come out to attack the caravan. Miko said grimly. And those weirdos? Naruto asked. In this town, he disappeared right after we first came out. Having done a particularly long ritual with his thing, said Choji, who had been sent to check. That's original, it didn't even occur to me to think about those structures. Kakashi confessed. Although they were suspicious. Asuma also repented. So we're looking for them. And they're hiding. Sasuke concluded. We're looking for them carefully. The weirdo could have just signaled, keep your heads down. I'll come and explain everything. We, as genin, are no threat, but the jonin are. But even they can't stand up to a major avalanche. They know these mountains well and can easily set traps for us. Warned Shikamaru. Don't speak for the others. We can do a lot of things to them. And you're a chunin, corrected Miko. Well, if you're so strong, beat them. Ino got angry. She's not against caution. She just didn't like the fact that her and her friend's strength was being belittled. And she could deal with a landslide by mastering the techniques of earth. Kakashi-sensei has it, and Asuma herself probably has the trump cards for that. If not, then we just have to stick together. Sasuke explained calmly. I don't have earth as an element. These are borrowed techniques, at the expense of Sharingan. Corrected the student Kakashi. You have a Sharingan as well. Maybe you can cover us too. Ino asked. He doesn't have enough chakra. Kakashi said, he doesn't have enough chakra. But I do. But I don't have a Sharingan. Let's trade. I'll give you my eye, and you give me yours. Naruto joked. Kakashi was saddened by the joke. We haven't found out if Asuma-sensei can do anything or not. Choji reminded him. According to the situation, I can cut through the larger debris and blow away the smaller ones. But it's best not to get your hopes up. Asuma replied. Everyone pondered the next steps. The next morning they set off. They decided to go in 2 groups. Kakashi, Miko, Sasuke and Shikamaru. Kakashi would cover them with techniques and Sasuke would signal them. In the second, Asuma, Ino, Naruto and Choji. Asuma and Naruto will be able to slow down the debris with wind techniques. At the cost of Naruto being able to make 3-4 clones without risk, Asuma was almost unnecessary. The search continued for a second day when an explosion went off. Asuma and Naruto struck almost simultaneously. Naruto and his 2 clones used the air wall, pushing and stopping the debris. Asuma was crushing large pieces of debris. The avalanche didn't hurt them. But following the avalanche, the bandits appeared. There were about 3 dozen of them. The shinobi took up a circular defense. Asuma on one side, Naruto and the clones on the other. Ino and Choji were in the middle. They couldn't use their techniques, it was dangerous. Choji could miss and fly into the abyss, and Ino's techniques were ineffective with multiple opponents. Asuma handled it with ease. Naruto wasn't exactly straining himself either. The incomplete Rasengan was well worth using on the snow beneath his feet. The snow whirlwinds it produced were much more effective than smoke bombs. The attacking bandits retreated. But no sooner had the shinobi rejoiced at this fact than explosions erupted from above. This time the collapse was much larger, and it was only rocky debris. Asuma grabbed Choji and blew out a powerful jet in a leap and flew away with him. Naruto and Ino remained there. Naruto's clones were trying their best and he was doing something, but the collapse was very close. Soon he couldn't see them because of the distance. Asuma mentally said goodbye to them. Survival techniques. Naruto saw the landslide and realized there was no way to stop such a thing with wind techniques. But a thought occurred to him quickly. Sensei had told him that snakes could also be used to defend against attacks. Their bodies were very flexible and their scales were strong, allowing them to withstand many physical attacks. Naturally, the larger the snake, the easier it is to withstand damage. He would certainly not summon Amanda. Orochimaru had done a good job of explaining who he was and how Naruto was lucky that he hadn't just killed him, but others as well. Luckily there were enough large snakes without him. Just to make it in time. Kuchio's ninjutsu. Just before the collapse, he shouted. Standing below, he thought. Whether the snake he had summoned was alive and had simply fallen into anabiosis from the cold, or whether it had failed to survive the collapse and was dying. Naruto summoned one that wasn't as large as he wanted. She of course managed to save them, wrapping herself around him and Ino, whom he was holding. But when the shaking ended and they came to a stop, it began to fall off and subside. While he was wondering, Ino, still in shock, walked to the side. Naruto, unable to think of anything useful, simply summoned a smaller snake and, warming it behind his sinus, asked if it could determine the condition of the larger one. The snake said she was almost fine. Minor bruises, but otherwise she was just sleeping. When asked if there was anything she could do to help her, she answered in the negative. She said that until she woke up and left, it was useless to do anything. And to do that, she needed to be warmed up. Thanking her, he said she could go. She disappeared. That means we need someone with a Kaden. He thought. Ino, are you okay? He asked out loud. Yeah, I think so. Help me throw snow on her. She fell asleep and can't go home. If she warms up, she'll be able to leave. Okay. 20 minutes later the work was finished. Let's go. Let's go find the others. Naruto. You're as calm as if nothing had happened. Don't yell. You might give us away to the bandits. We were almost crushed by a rockslide. Naruto. And you're telling me not to yell. What's wrong with you? We didn't get crushed. Because I saved us. Well, her. He nodded at a fresh snowdrift. That's not what I mean. We could have been killed. Naruto realized that Ino would not rest. Come on, he said and headed off in search of a convenient climb. Too bad he couldn't signal the others. The collapse was indeed very dangerous. The fact that they were killed would be the first thing they'd think of. So the only thing left to do was to look for them at the campsite or in the city. Ino followed Naruto, reproaching him for his defeatism, about life, about danger, about her and her feelings, problems, etc. Soon they found a cave. Decided to check it out. There's no telling what's out there. A cave is a cave, nothing unusual. As they got deeper into the cave, they came upon a large hall. They decided to split up and explore it in a circle. Naruto to the left, Ino to the right. After a few minutes, there was a crunch and an oink on the right. Ino had fallen under some ice that she hadn't noticed in the darkness. The water was up to her waist, but by the time she got to the shore, she was soaking wet. Are you all right? Naruto asked worriedly. His training in body control, with Orochimaru sensei, allowed him to act calmly in battle, but in other situations his stamina failed him. Normal. Just soaking wet. She needs to get warm right away. Flashed through Naruto's mind. But there was no fire, no warm food and drink. And Ino's clothes, wet from the incident, were making things worse. Get undressed. What? Get undressed, I said. Wet clothes are bad for you in this cold. Wear mine. It's dry and warm. I won't wear your clothes. I won't. What a stubborn girl. She'll freeze to death and it'll be my fault. Miko's mother also suffered. The memory of Miko's mother's death spurred him on. Look me in the eye. You have to stop being stubborn and take off your clothes. Naruto grabbed Ino by the shoulders, looking her in the face. Ino, from this, somehow, immediately, went limp. Naruto began to remove her clothes. Ino thought she was a fool. She was being stripped to save her life and she was being stubborn. She began to help him sluggishly. Once everything was off, Naruto threw a warm jacket over her that he had taken off beforehand for this purpose and began to undress himself. Ino stared at him. Naruto did it somehow clumsily, but quickly and diligently. Soon he was left in only light pants. Even his shoes, he gave them to her. "You'll warm up soon. Be patient," he said soothingly. "And you? I'm dry. And warm," he said with a smile. The important thing now was to find the others. Once she was warm, they tied her wet clothes into a knot. Ino carried the knot herself. Naruto slung his backpack on his torso and they moved on their way. Once out of the cave, they went to look for a rise. They decided to go straight to the town. There they could dry off and leave a sign to their own. Naruto could not wander in the mountains with bare feet for long. And only because of his training. Orochimaru had recently taught him to walk on coals. Same with snow and ice. "Listen, Ino, you're a censor. Can you find our people?" said Naruto, turning around. "If they're not too far away. I'm still not very good at the techniques. Try it. It might work." Ino stopped and concentrated. "I can feel Choji, but he's far away." "Direction?" Naruto asked, digging into his pouch. "There." Ino pointed to 2 o'clock. "Give me 3 blast scrolls. I'll try to signal." She held them out to him. Naruto made a couple clones. The clones spread out. Soon there were 7 explosions, at different intervals. The signal served to draw attention to the area. "Let's get back to that rock." The explosions could have attracted the bandits. They moved under the canopy Naruto had indicated. At least nothing would fall on them from above. After about 10 minutes, they noticed the Kathan signaling. To the standard sign, something else had been added. Naruto pulled out the last 3 scrolls and made a clone. The clone held the scrolls as well. Both the clone and the original laughed. The original put the scrolls away and the clone ran to signal. Soon they saw Sasuke, and behind him were Asuma and Choji. A shout of, "They're here," confirmed that they had been found. Fascinating story. Asuma marveled at what had happened to those two. "You want to play the hero. So now you know that heroes get cold too." Sasuke teased his friend. Ino looked up. Naruto was still undressed. "Naruto's freezing. Asuma dry her clothes herself." Naruto turned to her. "I don't think it's good for you," Sasuke said sneeringly. "It's my size." Everyone laughed. Asuma instantly extinguished his smile and remarked, "Ino, give me your clothes." Naruto, though joking, didn't show it, but he was trembling. Ino immediately held out the knot. Asuma thawed it slightly first. The icy lump broke apart into individual pieces. Drying began, and in the meantime, Sasuke warned Naruto. "How will she change clothes?" Naruto asked the question he was curious about. "How to undress, so you were not embarrassed," Asuma said with a chuckle. "Well, it was dark. And the situation was different," Naruto said in an apologetic tone. "Choji's going to expand now, and Ino's going to change after him." So they did. Choji transformed into a large ball and Ino changed clothes behind him. Then she gave the clothes to Naruto. After Naruto got dressed, they wanted to go look for the others, but Naruto said they needed to warm up the snake that had saved them. Finding the place where it was buried, Sasuke was surprised. The landslide was really scary. The heated snake listened to the thanks and disappeared. Soon they noticed a signal from Kakashi and the others. "What's up with the bandits, by the way?" Ino asked. "After you were swept away by the landslide, Kakashi and the others rushed over. They met up with me, and I told them what happened." Kakashi decided to pick up their trail. Miko and Shikamaru went with him. "Sasuke offered to look for you, with his Sharingan. We didn't really believe you were alive. But we went anyway. By the way, the signal says they've completed their mission. In the city, they checked the house with the signal structure on the roof. They didn't find anything special, just some loot. Same thing in the other town. They never found the owners." Chain of decisions. Naruto was practicing kinjutsu with his sensei. Inoichi approached and called out to him. Naruto immediately took advantage of the pause. Orochimaru, as promised, was teaching him nothing more humane than taijutsu. "What did you want from me, Inoichi-sama?" You were using some kind of technique, weren't you? Naruto knew right away what you were talking about. Yes. I had no choice. Aren't you ashamed? Why should he be ashamed? He did the right thing, and if you're going to condemn him, you're wrong. I won't let you do it. Orochimaru immediately stood up for his student. I'm not asking you, Orochimaru-sama. A little. I'm more sorry I couldn't do it properly. She could have been seriously ill or dead, and I could only have weakened her resistance. Naruto spoke confidently. Okay. I came here to ask you how you feel. You're still young, but you're already making good decisions. If you hadn't made her undress then, she wouldn't have gotten off so easily. But next time wear something a little more attractive. They said you had poor taste in clothes. He said with a chuckle. Naruto lived up to his expectations. What kind of technique are we talking about? Miko asked, coming up during the conversation but not interfering. He used a paralyzing technique on Ino to undress her. It didn't work well. Sannin explained. I've always been bad at genjutsu. No argument. Training with me does wonders. Sensei grinned, looking at his student. Dad. Stop messing with him. She's protected from mental attacks, she's Yamanaka. Didn't give offense to her comrade Miko. She's still young and inexperienced. Sannin argued. He is, too. And she's had it since birth, and you only showed him the technique a month ago. Miko. I understand that you don't let him off the hook. But he must always strive to do better. If he relaxes, his success will be short-lived. It's not the strongest who wins. It's the one who knows how to defeat opponents even stronger than himself. Can you do that? I can. Are you suggesting I beat some cage? There was nothing to say. Sannin had indeed earned his title. Tsunade was developing a new healing technique. It would take a long time to get the gold out of the third by surgical means. Only 3 people could use the new technique, 2 of them being her and Shizune. But the extraction went faster by several times. She was washing her hands after another session when a girl approached her. Mrs. Tsunade, are you not busy right now? The girl asked. If someone needs to be cured of a cold, it's not for me. The other Irionans can do just as well. She answered. No, I'm here for another reason. Said the girl shyly. And after a pause she added. I want to be your apprentice. After she said that, she blushed. Tsunade hacked. Why me? You were the one who made the Irionan rules. The best of them. And a very good teacher. I'm going to leave the village as soon as I'm done treating the third. And I'm too old for you. I'm sorry to bother you. She bowed and left. The next day, Shizune approached Tsunade. Tsunade herself. A girl came up to me and said she wanted to be my student. I said I didn't know if I would stay in the village. She said we were leaving and she would come with us. She approached me yesterday, but I gently turned her down. She seems serious. Are you going to leave? No, I haven't decided yet. But she said goodbye to me first. Then I guess she changed her mind. Shizune, what if you agreed to teach her? I don't know. I don't mind, but I'm still learning from you. Medicine is such a thing, you can't master it completely. You're already considered one of the best. You're already considered one of the best, and now you're just gaining experience, like me. Tsunade herself, maybe you should teach her after all. You already have a lot of experience in this field. I don't know what it's like to be a mentor. Okay, but you'll help her practice. I don't want to be stuck with her all the time. Other than that, all that matters is that she's got the skills and the desire. Although she has the desire, since she's decided to come with us. Ino sat and prepared for the trip. The decision to still go with Tsunade, even if she had to leave the village. It wasn't easy for her, but it was quick. At first, after the rejection, she wanted to look for another teacher. Then she decided that Shizune would be a good fit. All she had to do was convince her parents. Her father was shocked that his daughter wanted to leave the village, but realized since she was asking, there was a reason. He demanded her to come up and not resist. He was going to screen her directly with a mental technique. She could get hit by enemy techniques or something else unpleasant could happen to her. Ino didn't resist. Upon hearing the reason, Inoichi was dumbfounded and immediately gave his permission. Ino had decided to do this after realizing that the 7th team was right. In battle, she was almost useless. In the fight with the bandits, Naruto fought Asuma as an equal. And she and Choji were only standing. Irionyan should stand by, but at the first, need to help with healing techniques. Tsunade was also a very good fighter. It was a shame that she refused, of course, but Shizune probably wasn't much worse in combat. And having to leave the village was no big deal. She hadn't told herself the true reason. She hadn't realized it yet. Inoichi, however, understood it well. How courageously and calmly Naruto had protected her and Choji. Taking care of her. His trim figure. His kindness and cheerfulness. Love a worthy cause. Ino called out to her mother. Ino's here to see you. Ino came out and saw Shizune. Ino. I can't teach you, said Shizune bluntly. What? But why? Because I talked Mrs. Tsunade into teaching you. What? What? Really? Yes, and we're also staying in the village. Yes. The third persuaded her to stay. Ino couldn't believe her happiness. Tsunade was glad to be back in the village. Old acquaintances, new worries. Now this student. She didn't stay for her sake. She had actually been persuaded by the third one. Shizune had blabbed about Ino and the third had taken advantage of it. He could have let Ino and Tsunade leave the village, but he decided to try to convince her to stay and take more students. Tsunade, stay. Your hemophobia is a plus. You won't kill those inexperienced backstabbers. No, one student is enough for me. Although I'll teach the grown-up Jironans. And as for the hemophobia, I'm dealing with it a little at a time. Orochimaru's apprentice has a point. The death of two is no reason to give her the rest. Exam, girl, exam. When the next Chunin exam in the village of Hidden Mist took place, the 7th team participated. In the first stage, Naruto repeated the distraction trick again. The scenario is new, the tricks are old. In the second stage, they came across strong opponents with the right scroll. They fought their way to snatch it. In the third stage, Miko fought to a technical draw during the quarterfinals. Her opponent was a puppeteer from Suna. He was controlling two puppets at the same time. When Miko broke one of them, he pulled out a new one from a scroll to replace it. He couldn't hit her and she couldn't get close to him. She had already broken 3 of his puppets and he was getting them again. She was running out of chakra. The judges declared a technical draw, but recognized the puppeteer's victory as being in a better position. In the semi-finals, Sasuke defeated him with ease. In the finals, his opponent was Naruto. As soon as the fight was announced, Naruto refused to fight. I won't fight you at full strength. I don't think you'll fight me either. I give the victory to you. You really are the better of the two of us. After the fight, Naruto confessed the real reason for his action. Before the finals, Ino came to me and said she was going to try out for the next exam. I want to be her backup for it. Did you decide to reciprocate? Sasuke asked mockingly. Naruto still hadn't become a genius, but he'd noticed how Ino felt about him. The others did too. I just want to try. She's a beautiful girl from a good family. And she's changed a lot since that mission in the mountains. She's the first one who's ever shown me feelings like that. If it doesn't work out, fine. But I want to try. Good call. What you didn't realize is that you don't become a Chunin for winning, but for your performance. Damn it. I really didn't. It's nothing. We'll figure something out. The third looked at his former students and now legendary Sannin. I got that right. Your students, he pointed to Orochimaru and Jiraiya, have asked you to ask me that I not make Naruto a Chunin. They nodded, for the purpose that he can help your student in the next exam. He pointed at Tsunade. Yes. She confirmed. Orochimaru took the floor. I support Naruto's decision. Not because of the girl, but because I don't think he's worthy of the title of Chunin. He did well on the exam and impressed everyone with his statement. Said the third. He's a good fighter, but a Chunin is first and foremost a commander. Orochimaru reminded him. The third scratched the back of his head, then walked to the window. When you took him on as an apprentice, I was wary. But now he's become a good shinobi. The third looked out the window. After a pause, he added. Good. I will fulfill his request. But at the next exam he must be worthy of the title. Do you understand me, Orochimaru? Of course, master. Orochimaru said with a smile. At the next exam, during the first stage, everyone was expecting something from Naruto. So much so that they didn't notice how some of the other examinees were cheating. One of the examiners even poked him with a senbon. Naruto yelped and looked at him resentfully. The examiner apologized and stepped away. When the sheets were turned in, there was a notation at the bottom of the one that belonged to Naruto. It's embarrassing to cheat when you have a wealth of experience. Naruto dragged Ino and Choji almost alone through the second stage. He tackled his opponent and retrieved the necessary scroll. But then Ino became stubborn. I won't accept such a victory. Choji and I have been preparing too. We want to prove that we did it for a reason. Naruto calmly took out both scrolls and tossed them in the air, slicing them open. Okay. Get them on your own, I won't interfere unless absolutely necessary. Ino and Choji had indeed gotten stronger and better over time. But their opponents weren't weak either. With difficulty, they managed to win. After the victory, disappointment awaited them. Their opponents had already lost their scroll. Ino practiced Irionan's skills while treating Choji's wounds. In that condition, it would be difficult for him to fight. Then they changed their tactics. Ino tracked down the other group and after finding out who had the scroll, she transferred her consciousness into it at the appropriate moment. Then she took a bathroom break and handed the scroll to Naruto. If anything happens to him, I'll be mad at you. After saying that, she took the body away from him and let him go. There was no way they could get the second scroll. Ino was getting desperate and wanted to ask Naruto for help. When she approached him he handed her the scroll before she could say a word. I sent 2 clones in case you fail. Ino struggled with pride and practicality. How long have you had it? They brought it yesterday. And you were waiting in case we succeeded. Naruto nodded. Ino threw herself around his neck and kissed him. After the kiss, she thanked him verbally. Thank you. You're a miracle. So strong and so caring. On the third stage, Ino had to fight Choji. They both decided to fight without giving in. It wasn't long before everyone was convinced. Choji, having enlarged his hands, immediately went on the attack, preventing Ino from using techniques. Choji received several kunai throws to areas of his body not protected by his armor, and Ino injured her arm, missing one of the strikes. Choji managed to catch and pin Ino to the ground. The fight was over. The colorful show that was expected from Naruto in the first round, he decided to save for the finals. In the final fight, he faced the hidden stone Kunoichi. She was a formidable opponent. But Naruto was also impressive. Experience in ninjutsu, taijutsu and kenjutsu. Coolness in combat. A vast store of chakra and more. But that wasn't what won him the victory. As soon as the fight began, he summoned a clone. The clone used a substitution technique. Instead of the clone, Uchiha Sasuke now stood in the arena. I return the favor, Naruto. You gave me victory last time. Sasuke said calmly. Shouts came from the stands. Make another clone and change it to me. I'm on your team too. Kunoichi gave up, realizing that there was no way she could win. The beginning of the end. More than a year had passed. The Mist Shinobi squad of 5 moved cautiously. They were in enemy territory. 2 of them were Chunin, the rest were still Genin, but they all had combat experience. Their mission was to gather intelligence. For them, this mission was the first rank mission. They had worked together for a long time, but they were still worried. Halt! Sounded from somewhere. Who's there? You're in Fire Nation territory. Who do you think it is? The voice was different. The shinobi of the hidden leaf. The squad leader said it in a steady voice. That's right. So, why are you here? None of your business. It's negotiable. Maybe you're just here for the tour. His voice had a chuckle in it. One of the mists threw shurikens at the sound. And what did it do? The voice came from the other side. There's a small river on the right, half a kilometer away. It will be easier for you to fight there, said another with a sigh. One of the squad checked with his equipment. There was indeed a river. What do we do? Asked the commander. We'll take advantage of the offer. Judging by their tone, they do not consider us worthy opponents and will not set a trap. The squad moved in the direction indicated. When they reached the shore, they prepared for battle. Show yourselves and try to stop us. Okay. The kunoichi jumped out of the forest. She was dressed in a standard Chunin uniform, the only thing that stood out was her unruly black hair. The boy stepped out a little to the left. Disheveled blonde hair, a gray sleeveless shirt, swamp-colored pants, a hooded cloak, and a sword at his right side. The troop immediately shrank back. This trio was known throughout the villages. There were only 2 of them now, but that didn't change much. Why are you here? Naruto repeated. We're leaving. The commander replied and gave the order at the same time. Should we wait for the others? Or will you warn them? Naruto asked casually and a little tiredly. The mist shinobi left without answering. They also left in silence. To guard the border. The cage's residence was filled with homogeny. For the umpteenth time this week, there was arguing. I'm against him continuing to spread these rumors, said Orochimaru. They make our village wary. The third one calmly parried. But the spies are coming from everywhere. We barely have time to stop them. The Anbu commander did not calm down. The main thing is that you have time. Also calmly, the third. We shinobi are getting tired of changing each other at the post. We barely have enough men. And Danzo won't give us any of his own, even though he started the whole thing. Tsunade intervened in the conversation. Spies didn't always just leave. More often than not, they tried to fight their way out. There were more and more of them in the hospital. He's holding them in case anyone gets through. He's got them. That's a stupid idea, Tsunade said angrily. Anyway, nothing new. The arguments are still the same. When the 2 Chunin entered the residence with a report, everyone temporarily fell silent. 2 mist units and 1 earth unit have been stopped at the border. Target? Questioned the third. No explanation. But only a couple of mist shinobi got into the fight. Their comrades didn't support them, and they killed themselves. Before we even questioned them. That's all of them. Yes, 3. You're free to go. You'll pick up your next mission tonight. Yes, sir. As soon as they left, Tsunade went straight to the third. The poor guys. Their fame keeps them safe. They can't even rest in the hospital. They come to us with extreme exhaustion and blisters. Ino doesn't know whether to be happy that Naruto hasn't gotten there yet or resent him for not getting even a scratch for her. Jokes are jokes, but they're the most effective in this situation. That's why I send them all the time, answered the third. They can get exhausted. They've got 8 hours before their next mission. 10. I understand their situation. Danzo said it'll be over in 4 days. I can't wait. Orochimaru had faith in his students. But he'd had enough of Danzo's antics. It all started 17 days ago when Danzo said that his men had left misinformation in all the villages. Danzo's plan was to lure out as many serious shinobi of a possible enemy as possible. This would allow him to evaluate them, and at the same time demonstrate his power. The rumor his men had started wasn't particularly clever. 4 members of Akatsuki were being held and interrogated in the capital of the Fire Nation. This organization had done a lot of damage to many villages. First mercenaries, then a group of dangerous and very powerful shinobi with unclear goals. 4 at a time. It attracted a lot of curious individuals. And the cage of other villages were forced to send units constantly to know anything at all. 4 days later, the border posts were removed. The squads that had infiltrated the capital reported that, having learned all they could, the Akatsuki members had been disposed of with great care. The truth was much simpler. But the truth was kept quiet. And only a few knew. Rest and shocking news. Phew. It's finally over. Naruto was stretching, enjoying the rest. Yes. I wish Sasuke would come back soon. Miko cheered him on. They were lying on the shore of the lake, near one of the training grounds. Naruto was waiting for Ino, and Miko was just there for company. Hopefully, when she meets you, you won't need her help like Irianya. Tsunade had taught her well in more than just healing. Miko decided to play a joke on her comrade. Come on. She hasn't hit me once yet. What? She's already tried that technique on you. She seems patient and balanced. Miko was immediately concerned. Tsunade had indeed taught Ino some fighting techniques. The stones were shattering from her blows, and they weren't small stones. No, I'm just training her in taijutsu. Miko exhaled a sigh of relief. They were still lying in the sun when they were approached by the genin who were practicing on the ground. Can you show me a technique? They asked them in a squeaky voice. Miko folded the seals without opening her eyes. The curious geninians were splashed with a fountain from the lake. Satisfied. Anything else? The voice wouldn't give up. Naruto bit his finger. He didn't have time to finish the summoning technique. The genin realized what a spectacle awaited them and hurried away. Fear means respect, Miko said cheerfully. Pity the snakes, in this situation. 2 hours later, a smiling Ino came in. Honey, I'm here, she shouted cheerfully. Naruto went up to meet her. They kissed. The last time they had seen each other was 8 days ago. How was your shift? There were a lot of casualties from that fishing operation. Naruto asked. Calmly. 11. 7 will be discharged in 3 to 4 days. Ino answered calmly and in order. Are you hungry? I'll have some. Help yourself. No thanks. I've already eaten at home. But he refused. He was hoping you'd save him from starving to death. Miko said with feigned gloating. Everyone smiled. Naruto's voraciousness and his ability not to get fat had long been the subject of many stories. Orochimaru had once been asked about it. He honestly replied that he had no idea. He could, of course, dissect it and figure it out. Perhaps even answer the question that has long plagued many women, how to eat and not get fat. But as a student, he likes him better. I won't. I swear Irionina's word of honor. They sat and talked peacefully. Toward evening, they all went home. Farewell Ino. Miko said goodbye. Farewell. Naruto, take your time. Dad asked you to come by. Ino added slyly. Your place or the Anbu? The Anbu. Naruto went to the Anbu office and asked about Commander Inoichi. He was told that he was now in the investigation department and that he had warned them that he was coming. Naruto was escorted to Commander Inoichi's office. Hello Inoichi-san. Hello, Naruto. I have a mission for you. Naruto immediately became serious. Relax, said Inoichi with a smile. Your mission will be to escort the 4th team. They and their captain are escorting a caravan from the land of fire to the land of waterfalls. They'll be fine on their own. All you have to do is enjoy the views and the ride. This mission is a vacation of sorts. What about Miko? She deserves a vacation too. Orochimaru didn't just get her a vacation, he got her a real vacation. The two of them are going somewhere together. The next morning, Naruto went with the 4th team on a mission. He regretted not being able to see Sasuke before leaving. Half a day later, they reached the caravan's departure point. With a clap, Sasuke and Jiraiya appeared in the middle of the square. Home at last. A proper meal. People. Friends. Exclaimed Sasuke. Ha ha ha. Sasuke, you're overreacting. A true shinobi must endure the hardships of life. Jiraiya jokingly reprimanded his apprentice. I did. Now that the hardships are over, it's time to rest from them. They went to Orochimaru's house. Sasuke couldn't wait to brag to everyone that he had mastered the Toad Hermit mode. When they went inside, the only person they saw was Miko. Where are Naruto and Orochimaru? Jiraiya asked. Naruto's on an mission. Miko's puffed up. He's been sent off for a good rest traveling. Dad's getting ready for our trip to the land of iron. He has old friends there. He and I are leaving tomorrow on the same mission as Naruto. Anyway, there's been a lot going on while you've been gone. Like Danzo's fishing operation. What operation? Sasuke and Jiraiya asked at the same time. Miko briefly but colorfully outlined it. What are the results? Jiraiya asked. It's not known yet. They talked peacefully while drinking tea, and Sasuke ate some of the goodies that were in the refrigerator. After the ration of MT. Myoboku, everything was delicious. Here. And you didn't appreciate my cooking. Reproached, Miko, after another joyful cry with a full mouth in the performance of Sasuke. Now I'll idolize her. Just don't tell the toads about it, sensei. Don't worry. I won't. And so they sat happily until they went to bed. The mission to guard the caravan was now in its 4th day. Naruto was having a good time. In the 4th team, there was one from a side branch of the Hyuga clan, a kunoichi specializing in genjutsu with the ability to aim it remotely, and a guy with the element of earth. Their captain was strict, but honest and sympathetic. He admitted that if he hadn't gotten a direct order to keep Naruto out of the mission unless absolutely necessary, he wouldn't have let him relax. The team checked every bush along the way. Naruto, on the other hand, talked quietly with the caravan drivers and enjoyed the ride. In the land of hot springs, he was blissfully enjoying a massage when suddenly, he received a telepathic message. "AAA. It's me, Ino. You busy?" "Not really. I'm on a massage while the caravan replenishes its supplies." "Erotic?" Ino asked suspiciously. "Relaxing. Okay. What am I talking about? Drop everything and go back to the village." "What happened?" His body instantly tensed up, causing the masseur to stop. "Sasuke's in the hospital with severe injuries. And there's a rumor that he attacked the third." "Shit. What about the mission?" "I've already cleared it with father. He gave me the go-ahead almost immediately. I'll contact the captain of Team 4 and explain everything." 10 minutes later, Naruto was already riding the snake into the village. 30-odd hours later, Naruto reached Konoha. When he ran to the hospital, Ino was already waiting for him. She escorted him to his room. "As soon as you enter, you'll understand where the rumors are coming from. I'll wait outside." As Naruto entered, he saw 4 Anbu. For guarding one severely injured man, that's a lot. Sasuke looked really badly beaten up. Naruto approached him. The Anbu didn't interfere. "Are you okay?" Sasuke struggled to wake up from his sleep. "Naruto. What are you doing here?" "Ino called me. She even got the mission cancelled." "It was cancelled. I thought they wouldn't let anyone near me," he said with a grin, his lips parted. "Why?" Naruto asked his friend with a bad feeling. A voice from the back answered. "Because the rumors don't lie." Naruto turned around. One of the Anbu was looking at him. He recognized Kakashi-sensei from the voice. "Rumors about?" "Yes, he attacked the Hokage." "Just his decision." Naruto looked around, ready for anything. Everyone in the village knew that this couple was willing to fight anyone for each other. And maybe this trap was for Naruto to keep him from helping Sasuke. But, none of the Anbu were going to attack. Naruto relaxed a little. "Why did you attack?" he asked his friend. "I was furious and out of control. They told me such a secret. I couldn't take it anymore and got angry." "What secret?" Sasuke looked at Kakashi. "No, leave him out of it. It's your decision." He answered the mute question. "Naruto, let's go outside." When they came out, Kakashi warned his former student. The Hokage doesn't have much of a beef with Sasuke for the attack incident, even though he wasn't the only one hurt. The reason for his outburst is very important and is being kept secret. I, as his teacher, was told to keep an eye on him. They didn't give details, but they said it was very important. Stay out of it, Naruto. You can't help Sasuke. Naruto silently clenched his fists at the situation. The Hokage said you could come to him for an explanation. As Naruto approached the office, the door opened and Third called out to him. "Come in, Naruto." He did so. The Hokage turned from the window to face Naruto. There was a large bruise on the right side of his face. "Yes, Sasuke did it. I didn't treat it as a reminder of my carelessness." Naruto remained silent and waited for an explanation. "This matter concerns the village and Sasuke. You are forbidden to interfere. And you're not the only one. The Anbu are keeping an eye on Sasuke for his own good." "That's not an explanation I'd be comfortable with." "I agree." They stood there in silence for a few minutes. "So that's all you wanted to tell me?" "So that's all you wanted to tell me?" "I'm sorry. But this is a matter for Sasuke to decide for himself. Even I don't interfere with his decision. Where do you want me to go so I don't get in the way?" Naruto asked calmly. "Wherever you want. But don't linger in the village, lest Sasuke try to ask you for advice. I heard the message caught you in the middle of a massage. The village will pay you for the lost pleasure. Why was I even called in?" This mission was to get me away from Sasuke. You're right about the mission. They cancelled it to make Sasuke understand his situation. He's just waiting for an answer and keeping an eye on him. No one will interfere or restrict his choices. I'm sure there's nothing I can do to help. The third man nodded slowly. How long? Depends on Sasuke. Find me a mission, rank doesn't matter. As long as it's busy and for a long time. Okay. Come back in a few hours. 5 hours later, Naruto entered the third's office. You will guard and assist Shizuna. She's going on a mission to gather rare ingredients. I don't know how long the mission will last, but I guarantee a couple months. Don't worry, you'll be withdrawn as soon as he gives a confident answer. The following evening, the ingredient gathering expedition began. In addition to Shizune, there were 5 other Irionen. Naruto was anxious, but the words of the third calmed him down a bit. While this mission lasted, they scoured cities and mountains, fields and wastelands, forests and meadows. It was over a month before word came that Naruto might return. He decided to finish the mission first. Sometimes the group ran into trouble and Naruto's fighting skills were not unreasonable. Upon his return, he was greeted at the gate by Sasuke himself. Hello. Hi. After the greeting, both of them didn't know what to add. Finally, Sasuke made up his mind. Now I can tell you what happened. Itachi. Your brother. He's innocent. The Hokage and the Anbu exonerated him. Naruto was surprised. What does that have to do with you? I swore to kill him. Replied Sasuke, turning away. I see. They wanted you not to kill him. Sasuke nodded. And what did you decide? Before he became a criminal, he was a great brother. Naruto and Sasuke went to Sasuke's house. Is he there? Naruto asked. Yes. Can I talk to him alone? You don't believe me. Sasuke calmly stated. Mangekyo Sharingan is a powerful and dangerous dojutsu. I don't mind. You'll figure it out for yourself. When they reached the door, Sasuke stopped at the threshold. Let him talk. Just don't look him in the eye if you don't trust him. Naruto nodded and walked in. Itachi was sitting on a chair wearing simple clothes. The chair was near the window and with his back to Naruto. Who are you? He asked without turning around. It didn't sound like Sasuke's footsteps. Don't try to turn around. Naruto's katana lightly touched Itachi's neck. Naruto. Am I right? Yes. I have questions about your excuse. You don't believe me. Are you afraid of my eyes? He grinned and added, too bad you didn't see them. I'm not impressed by pretty eyes. Mangekyo Sharingan has a price. Vision. It fades with time. I can barely see anymore. I can't even do genjutsu anymore. You're still a very dangerous shinobi. Not anymore. Working in Akatsuki has undermined my health. Itachi felt Naruto's fingers on his neck. What really happened? You can't be fooled. You, like my brother, are Sanin's apprentice. I can't tell you. It's not my secret. How can I verify your innocence? You can't. You can't. It's beyond your power. Then why should I believe it? Then why should I believe it? Because he's in a really bad way. Because he's in a really bad way. A voice from behind made Naruto turn around. Ino was standing there. She walked over to Itachi and pulled Naruto's sword away from his neck. Look. She brought Naruto up to Itachi's face. Itachi looked at them almost blindly. My Sharingan is no longer capable of anything. It's not just him. His condition is terrible. How he could pose a threat, I have no idea. Naruto took Ino behind Itachi's back. Naruto folded the seals. His right hand took on a delicate purple halo. He placed it on Ino's forehead. Want to take off the genjutsu? Almost. Be patient, it'll be uncomfortable, but it won't hurt. What is it? She asked him. It's what I said it would be. Don't worry, it won't hurt you. The halo turned an acid color. Then Naruto said, away. Ino fell senseless. Naruto intercepted her as she fell. Lifting her in his arms, he walked towards the exit. I'll question her as soon as she wakes up. If you've been lying, I'll get to you. I don't like it when my friends and loved ones are used. You used circles on the water. Yeah. She's breathing okay. If you can use such a technique so precisely, you're a dangerous opponent. As soon as Ino regained consciousness, Naruto questioned her. Ino, how are you feeling? No memory lapses. Well, I can't remember right off the top of my head. If you didn't notice it right away, I guess not. What's Itachi's condition? I told you it's terrible. His internal organs are diseased. His central nervous system is damaged. He's almost lost his sight. His body is worn out from drugs and fighting. Do you trust him? Not really. But Third and Tsunade-sensei do. That's enough for me. I'm helping with the treatment for Sasuke's sake. By the way, what was that technique? I won't scare you. When you say things like that, it scares me even more. When you say things like that, it scares me even more. Stop. You were talking about memory loss. Losses. They occur as an effect of the effects of genjutsu. They occur immediately if you were under genjutsu before the technique I used. He got exactly the same answers as before. So Itachi wasn't lying. Naruto believed him, but decided to look into it. What actually happened was this. Sasuke had been summoned to the Anbu. Waiting for him in one of the basements was a third, old man with a bandaged head and right arm, and a squad of Anbu. Sasuke. The third man began, I have some important news and a question for you. The news is that your brother, Itachi, has been acquitted. What? The fishing operation, as it was called, was not entirely false. Itachi, feeling he wouldn't last long, decided to pay his last respects to his village. He came and told everything he knew about Akatsuki. Said the old man in bandages. Decided to buy his life. Sasuke said harshly. No. The third man objected calmly. He has little interest in his life. He was really paying his last respects to the village. We thought we could save him. Tsunade is the best medic alive. Even without her, there are enough good Irionen in the village. He and you are the last ones. I want you to rebuild your clan. But Itachi himself wants to die by your hand. As a criminal. He'll only accept treatment if you forgive him. He killed his parents and his clan. He confessed it to me himself. What kind of excuse is that? He did it on orders. On our orders. Sasuke clenched his fists, and slowly asked, why did you give such an order? An old man in bandages answered him. The Uchiha clan was plotting a coup. We were just avoiding heavy casualties. Is there any proof of that? The third man nodded. The Anbu and your brother's denunciations. Itachi has always been loyal to the village. Preempting Sasuke's question, the third added. No, your brother did not falsify the report of a possible mutiny. Other agents and Anbu reports confirmed that. Was there no other way out? No. We tried, but we couldn't find him. If we hadn't, there would have been more casualties. Added the old man in bandages. And his service in Akatsuki. Is that an order from you too? No, it was his initiative. He decided to take advantage of his position as a Nukenin and keep an eye on the organization from within. Replied the third one nervously. We ourselves learned about it from him recently. Sasuke breathed deeply, trying to calm down. You said you had a question for me. That question is whether I'll forgive him, isn't it? The third man and the old man nodded. I had only one goal in mind. To kill Itachi. The one who slaughtered my entire clan. And you want me to forgive him? Sasuke lost his temper. He approached the third one. You're just as guilty for making him do that. He gave me a cruel look that night. Showed me how he killed everyone. Hurt me himself. Forgive me. Sasuke, calm down. We had no choice. And he agreed to it. Sasuke threw a punch. The Anbu immediately rushed to stop him. But it wasn't easy. He took his strength to hit everyone. The five of them barely managed to stop him. But to do that, they had to beat him up pretty good. The third one stood up, holding his face. I'm getting old. No intelligence, no reaction. Send him to the hospital and keep an eye on him. A day later, the third visited him with the bandaged old man. Have you gotten cold? The old man asked him. Sasuke reluctantly replied. Yes. We're waiting for your answer. You two are the last. And if there is one less of you, the chances of rebuilding the clan will drop even lower. But Itachi has given you the choice. Was that really necessary? To make him look like a criminal. Someone has to be guilty. Either him or the clan. If we didn't make him guilty, we'd have to explain why he killed them, their attempted coup. To protect the honor of the clan, he chose himself. The silence lasted for a minute or two, then Sasuke asked. Can I see him? Of course. Only under supervision and when you're well. The long-awaited happy ending through suffering. Sasuke's treatment took almost a month. As promised, he was allowed to meet Itachi in one of the underground halls of the route. Sasuke had heard of the route, but no more. Now he was walking through its base. A dozen cloaked and masked Anbu watched their meeting. Hello, Sasuke. Itachi was the first to speak. I wish I could appreciate how much you've grown. I'm almost blind. Hello, brother. What's your answer? Itachi didn't hesitate. Depends on this conversation. Ask whatever you want. What do you want? Killing the clan and being seen as a traitor is a heavy burden. Itachi answered with a sigh. The only thing weighing on me was the fact that you lost your childhood. The clan made their choices, I made mine, and you had nothing to do with it. I'd like to know the details of what happened. I can show you with genjutsu. But you'll just have to believe what I show you. It's fixable, said one of the root Anbu. I'm from the Yamanaka clan, and I can show you the memories you need. It's up to you to decide what to show, I'll just give them to Sasuke. I agree, Sasuke said. He was already familiar with the technicians of Naruto's friend's clan and trusted them. Me too, Itachi confirmed. Good, just need a little preparation, said the Anbu. It took about 20 minutes to prepare. Then they plunged into memories. Sasuke and the Anbu were floating in an incomprehensible place. What is it? Sasuke asked. Itachi's inner world would be the most appropriate definition, replied the Anbu. Memories are coming. You will see and feel them on Itachi's behalf. The third, the counselors, and Danzo. Sitting around the table. It's so soon. We won't have time to do anything. Third, sighed bitterly. I guess a preemptive strike is all that's left, said one of the advisors. Danzo and the counselor nodded their heads in agreement. Itachi, are you ready to do this? Said the third, loud and clear. Yes. A calm and confident voice. Do you understand the sacrifice you're making? And the cost if you don't? Yes. Same calm, confident voice. Good. The counselors agreed. I will take care of your brother. You have my word. ... Sword trembling in his hands, tears on the floor falling from his eyes, two figures sitting with their backs to him. I'm sorry, but I had to. I had to do it. It's your choice, and though as head of the clan I am saddened. I'm proud of your choice as a father. You've done well, Itachi. We support you as parents. Mother's voice. In his parents' voices, only pride, without a trace of fear. Thank you. Relief. ... Sasuke, standing at the entrance to his parents' room. He's terrified and looking to his brother for answers and help. Brother, what happened here? The tears on his cheeks are dry. And on the floor, drenched in blood. He's lied many times, he's been taught to lie. He'll lie now for the good of the clan and his brother. A shuriken stabbed through the door, ripping through his sleeve and leaving a small wound on his arm. I killed them all. What? Why? I wanted to test my strength. You killed them all. Even dad and mom. Yes. Killing them didn't hurt me one bit. He could have just walked away. But he felt like a monster and he wanted Sasuke to think of him as one too, not a brother. He grabbed him by the throat and showed him how he killed the entire clan and his parents. Even tougher and more cold-blooded than it really was. ... Several cloaked figures in a dark cave. You found us, Uchiha Itachi. But for what purpose? I want to join you. Are you worthy? A man who single-handedly slaughtered an entire clan is not worthy. Well, you're welcome to join. We were going to offer it to you, but you beat us to it. On one condition. You will not touch Konoha. It's personal. ... The weakness is getting worse. It's not long now. He's heading for the land of fire. He's making a sign that once meant increased attention in the ANBU. He's probably been changed, but their attention, he'll still get it. They surround him. He says he's giving up and wants to trade information for certain desires. Says he agrees to any terms of the convoy. They bandage his head, covering his eyes and place seals preventing him from using techniques, 7 pieces all over his body. Then he's led around. The bandages are removed in a huge hall, this way all underground. Danzo stands in front of him. He's surrounded by Roots Anbu. What do you want? Danzo says angrily. To give up all known information about Akatsuki. In exchange for what? A brief moment of doubt. Out of duty to the village. Why now? I'm dying, and I may not be able to make it later. Danzo gives the order with a gesture. The hall empties. Only Itachi, Danzo and 2 of the Anbu remain. You're still loyal to the village. Danzo says it calmly and a little reproachfully. I've always been loyal to it. A third stands in front of him. Itachi. Do you want to go back to the village? He begins. Why? To help rebuild the clan. I'm a criminal. We can fix that. How? Itachi's voice is tired. Make you look innocent for the death of the clan. He's surprised. The third continues. We both know the sacrifices we have to make for the village. A little lie isn't the worst. A lie. Yes. We'll say you were on a mission. And it was taken advantage of by an S-rank Nukenin with a technique that can handle Sharingan. Under your disguise, he slaughtered the entire clan. And when Sasuke was the only one left, he didn't kill him because he didn't see him as an opponent. But he left a witness and blamed you for it. When you came back, you decided to take revenge on him. You and 2 other Anbu caught up with him and finished him off. Before he died, you questioned him about why he did it. He wanted to join Akatsuki, and that's the right way to do it. And no, I'd rather it be the Root Anbu. They are more trained to kill such opponents and their memory is harder to test. Danzo interjected. And then the Anbu passed on that information through their channels and you were given a mission to infiltrate Akatsuki, since your reputation allows you to do so. Or you made that decision yourself. Continued the third. I'm dying. We'll cure you. Or at least make it easier. I don't want to lie to Sasuke. After a short silence, Danzo suggested. He'll know the whole truth, if that's what you want. The third nodded in affirmation. If he will forgive me, I agree. That was the end of Itachi's memories. Sasuke came back to reality. You're in a lousy state. Are they sure they can cure you? I don't know. Tsunade is a great medic, but she can't cure a Sharingan. And the rest? Itachi shrugged. I've been hanging on to medicines and techniques. If you want to cut your own existence short, I'll help you. But I'd like to help restore your good name and rebuild the clan together. Even if you remain blind. You could transplant me with a different eye. Yes. I don't need a Sharingan. And if my children have complications because of my condition, I won't have them. Children are on me. Sasuke said with a grin and a sigh of relief, I'm quite popular with the girls. I understand. Itachi smiled. I was like that too. Tsunade swore unashamedly at her former teacher and subordinates. With feeling and imagination. You should have gotten yourself like that. It would be easier to kill you and raise you with my grandfather's brother's technique. The third asked, ignoring her anger. You tell me exactly. Is there any treatment for this? Most of it is. The eyes will definitely need new ones. His liver's in terrible shape from the drugs he's been taking. It could affect the kids. But that's my first priority, since you want healthy offspring so badly. The rest will be fine. But he won't be able to participate in any missions above A, B rating. His body and system are too worn out. He'll be babysitting his nephews. For all his later brother. Sasuke interjected. Aiz promised to give Danzo. After the death of the clan, Root collected Sharingan from the dead. Just in case. What about mine? Itachi asked. We'll destroy them. I don't want Sasuke to get that kind of power. What are you doing? Itachi will tell you later. For now, we need to get to work on his treatment. Sasuke received a message from Ino that Naruto had been warned to return, but he decided to continue the mission. Sasuke was worried. How would he react to this? Naruto was almost on par with him in skill right now. But in chakra, if he thought something was amiss, he would try his best to find out what was going on. And the truth had to be hidden, for the sake of the clan. When Naruto walked out of the house with Ino in his arms, Sasuke became worried. What's wrong with her? She's just unconscious from the technique. This technique removes all the effects of genjutsu. It's supposed to overcome even Tsukuyomi, but it's never been tested. What kind of technique is this? Circles on water. A chakra of a certain nature and frequency is created. Then it's sent to the brain. Any genjutsu leaves chakra marks for effect. You can erase them with a similar technique. But if you make a mistake, possible consequences: memory loss, partial or total disorientation, personality disorders, mental trauma. That's why it's called circles on the water. It's not forbidden, it's just taught with caution. You couldn't even do Rasengan once. Are you sure she's okay? Yes. I wouldn't do something like this if I wasn't 100% sure. Sensei taught it to me a while ago. It's difficult, but you know how effective his training is. If he became an enemy of the village, I wouldn't want to meet his students. What impression did he leave on you? Sasuke asked about Itachi. At the moment, it's contradictory. I'll decide after I interview Ino. Naruto arrived at Sasuke's house that evening. He knocked on the door. Itachi opened the door. Sasuke is here? Naruto asked. Yes. In the bathroom. I need to talk to both of you. Come on in. Itachi let him in. Then he went into the living room. How bad is your vision? Not much. I've gotten used to the house and I'm walking by memory. I see. Tea. Yes. I think I'll pour my own. You don't trust me. Not without that, but I just know blind people use their fingers to check if they're full. Yeah. I'll wash them. Itachi offered with a chuckle. I thought you were the moody type. Everyone who saw you in Akatsuki reported it like this. It's hard to smile when you're a criminal. Your partner didn't think so. Kisame. He's a very interesting person. A true blood mist disciple. Sasuke came out. He caught them in the living room in the middle of a conversation. Naruto, what have you decided? Sasuke inwardly tensed up. He knew that his friend could kill with a calm face, and such a nice conversation did not guarantee his peaceful intentions. I've come to sort things out to the end. We can't say more than what you've already been told. I trust you. I won't touch Itachi. But if I have a strong suspicion, that will change quickly. That's all I ask. A month later, Itachi's health began to recover. Tsunade was working hard to get him back on his feet. His eyes were replaced. Sasuke was looking at candidates to rebuild the clan. His mentor, Jiraiya, had taken a bit of a fancy to his hobby. Women. But Sasuke's upbringing made him very gallant. That's why things moved very quickly. Itachi was treated with suspicion, but the third's intercession inspired confidence. And the ice in the relationship was gradually melting. The end.